By Macy's Backstage. Aztecs last night lost to Grand Canyon 79-73. They're 7-2 on the year. Next up for the Aztecs, they return home to Viejas Arena this weekend where they'll take on UC Irvine on Saturday. It's going to be a long show, everybody. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about the perfect holiday gifts, just $25 and under, like matching family PJs, fragrance sets, toys, and more. Find the latest trends, new arrivals, and great prices at Macy's Backstage store near you.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour one of Jon and Jim. We are on Soto watch like the rest of San Diego right now. We've been really waiting for this moment for close to 24 hours. Things were heating up last night after the Yankees made a trade for Alex Verdugo. We were told that that was kind of the linchpin potentially for them to move on to Juan Soto. We've heard about this for weeks on end, and it's been close, so close to the point that as you watch MLB Network right now, John Morosi is reporting that the Yankees and the Padres are finalizing a trade for Juan Soto. But then there's Bob Nightingale. We just talked about it, Jim, during the Fusion. Bob Nightingale saying that Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone are heading to the airport right now in Nashville, Illinois, to head back to New York, California. So we wait on this Juan Soto deal. I mean, nobody's thrilled. This isn't getting Juan Soto. Like, that was super exciting 2 years ago. You're waiting to get Juan Soto. You're waiting to get a Max Scherzer a couple of years ago. We're waiting for the Padres to trade Juan Soto, so I don't really know what to think about it other than we're waiting like everyone else is right now.
It sucks. I hate it. It's not great. Anybody trying to spin this as a positive, I got nothing for you today. Like, this is not a positive, guys. This is not a positive. If your spin and your positive take on this is, well, you know, they free up a bunch of money because they needed to get down to 200 million because that was what's being reported because, you know, they can't sustain this high payroll and this gives them a little flexibility and they need pitching help. So they get a pitcher with 2 years left on his deal who's 28 years old, has 9 starts in his career and a bunch of other prospects that nobody's ever heard of. To me, that's not like, yay, let's be excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is, hey, you got to be effing kidding me type of day if you're a Padres fan. Like, I'm sorry. You can't spin it to me. Anybody out there talking about, well, look at the splits of Thorpe and Brito in the minor leagues. Nobody effing cares. You are about to trade a generational player in Juan Soto for a pitcher who has 9 career starts, who is replacing Seth Lugo, and a bunch of scrap that could turn out to be good someday. But initially, next year, we won't hear a word about those players.
This is what I would say, and I agree with what you're saying, and I think a lot of fans feel the way you feel. The truth is this. If the Padres complete a trade where Juan Soto leaves San Diego, you're trading a future Hall of Famer away for a bunch of prospects. Now, what impact does it have on the Padres in 2024 and beyond? Nobody has any idea. What do they do with the money that gets freed up? How do they spend it? Do they fully spend it or not? Nobody has any idea. Can they piecemeal together a better roster in 2024 without Juan Soto because they free up money? as opposed to with him. I think it's a tough sell. I've been saying that for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Tough sell.
Well, not just a tough sell. I think it's tough to accomplish that potentially for AJ Preller. But I think it is a rock hard spot situation. I think you keep Soto. Well, you had a better roster in 2023 than you have now, and you weren't very good.
No.
You keep him in lower payroll, and you got a chance to once again not be very good. So it's like, how do you make the most of a bad situation? How do you get whole, so to speak? You're not going to get whole. But if you're going to lose him at the end of 2024, this is the cold, hard facts that you're dealing with. So you may have to move him. And it sounds like they are going to potentially move him to the New York Yankees. I'm with you. It's not a good day. I don't think it signifies a fire sale, but it's not a good day. We've been on the opposite side of this as Padres fans for the last 4 or 5 years. And it feels, can I say crappy?
Yes, John, you said
I just said it. It feels crappy to be on the other side of it. Brent, can I say that?
You're such a potty mouth.
Yeah.
For me, it just kind of feels like, I keep comparing him to a car, but it's like, you have some, $150,000 Lamborghini that you put up for sale. And then it's like, dude's like, okay, I'll give you, $500 for it. And so you're like, okay.
You still need the money.
Yeah. It's just like,
I
you're
need
so hard up
need
for
the
money
money
that you have to do it. But it's just like, you're selling something that that you're not going to get back what it's worth, but you have to do it. So you're just kind of like, fine.
Okay.
We've all been there. By the way, what are you feeling at this hour? You're sitting there, you're refreshing Twitter, you're listening to us, you're watching us. If you want to just weigh in on what you're feeling, 844-570-1360. Because I think a lot of people don't necessarily know how to feel. I think typically before a blockbuster deal, there's a level of excitement, but I don't feel in San Diego. Why would you be excited about this?
I see people that are excited about this, and I kind of just like, I don't understand it. I really don't. Is this the end of the world? No, it's not.
No, probably not.
Probably not. But is it a situation that the Padres put themselves in? And Darren talked about it. We know it's not good when you're trading a player and the consensus feels like everybody inside that organization's like, we don't want to do this.
But we have to.
Imagine that. We don't want to do this. Instead of we need to trade this guy. I know if you're like the Washington Nationals, did they want to trade Juan Soto? No, probably not. And that's, I think, viewed there now as like, well, CJ Abrams might be good, but Mackenzie Gore is blah so far. And James Wood, you have no idea. And Robert Hassel, have anybody heard from him?
True, but they kind of got the can't refuse deal a year and a half ago, right? Like the perception was, wow, they really got a haul.
And they tried to re-sign him. The Padres,
they offered him a contract.
Yeah, who knows if the Padres tried to re-sign or even offered Juan Soto a contract.
Right.
And so that's a situation when you offer a guy a deal and they're like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. Then I can understand, like, well, you tried, you went out on a limb and tried to re-sign this guy, he's helped you win a World Series. And plus it's easier to palate if you trade away a guy and you've already gotten that World Series.
Yeah, which is exactly what the Nationals had accomplished. That's exactly right.
And if the Padres won the World Series either in 2022 or in 2023,
I think it feels different.
It feels way different. You're absolutely right.
I think it feels way different. All right, you what are you feeling right now, Padres fans, as you wait on what? I mean, are you hoping that this gets done? Are you hoping somehow for an 11th hour save and Juan Soto stays?
Soto fails his physical.
Right. What are you hoping for? 844-570-1360. A lot of people want to weigh in. Let's start on line 2 with Matt. Matt, you're on with Jon and Jim, and thanks for calling in.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, man.
It is a lot of doom and gloom. A year and a half rental of Soto decimated the farm system to get him, and we're not going to get back what we gave up to rent him. I mean, the only thing I can hope is that the Yankees can't sign him long term, because I do not want to see him in a Yankees uniform for the long term. Really don't want to see that.
But you want to see him in another uniform? I mean, you want to see him in a Dodgers uniform or a Giants uniform? There's not a lot of good outcomes.
No.
I mean, the hierarchy is always Yankees never for anything. But Dodgers are too. I mean, it's true. No, I mean, now you have to look back at last year when they were spending money and trying to, win in that small window. And it's like, did they make the right moves with the allocation of the money that they had? If you could go back, would you not sign Darvish to a long-term deal? Would you not re-sign Cronenworth? Would you not have thrown money around left and right knowing that you had somebody else that you needed to pay that was worth the money.
Matt, thank you. I
Thanks
mean,
for the
that's the hindsight thing. We all agree. You're not doing Cronenworth over Kim. You're not doing Darvish over Snell.
Mhm.
Again, a little easier said than done. Like, I think if I'm GM, I'm not saying I get all that perfectly, but that's AJ Preller's job. And he didn't do it perfectly. They made mistakes. In the hierarchy of deals, they made mistakes. Bogart's mistake, let's be honest. Right? Machado extension could have cost them Soto moving forward. Right? Cronenworth. I mean, they've made some mistakes here.
And this is the type of almost cussed. This is the type of crap that I'm seeing on my
We both said that now.
on my timeline.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm like, hey, if you want to feel that way, fine. But guess what? You're an idiot. Sorry, you are. You don't view Juan Soto like everybody else views Juan Soto. If we want, and this is from somebody on Twitter that just messaged me. He says, if we want to have any chance of having a winning season or any semblance of a roster in 2024, then the Soto trade is a must. No point in crying about it. I'm not crying about it. I'm telling you straight up. I think it's stupid. I think it sucks. The fact that you have a generational type of player under contract for another year, the value of having that guy in a walk year. We just saw what happened with Blake Snell winning a Cy Young. We've seen in baseball so many times a guy on a walk year just ball out. You have pieces to try and win right now. The mindset of this organization is winning now, not in 4 years. Okay. And the fact that you're giving up a player that could help you do that and be a big piece of that puzzle to help you win right now because you effed up everything with the money. Like you like, that's, I mean,
this is why I think they've moved goalposts. And this is why I was angry yesterday at some of the way that I perceive Mike Schill to be talking about sustainability. And almost like he was using the S word, sustainability, as a way to put off the ultimate prize. We want to be good.
Yeah.
How do we do it by lowering payroll? I'm not saying we're going to be great, but how do we remain good? Let's get to some of these calls. A lot of people want to weigh in. Let's go to Zach.
Crying.
Brent. Zach on line 4. Lines are loaded. 844-570-1360. Zach, you're on with Jon and Jim.
What's up, man?
Hey, just wanted to focus on the silver lining here. Hearing a lot of negativity. No one seems to mention that reliever, Garcia. He's gone. That is awesome. I'm so happy about that. The Angels, I don't know why they chose to pay him, but I'm just so happy Garcia is off of our team because he was guaranteed they're going to score runs every time he came in, man.
So is that the big offseason win, Zach? Is there anything else?
Luis Garcia, gone. 90-win team.
I'm so happy about that.
All right, Zach, thank you.
Thanks for the call.
Soto moves, but Garcia's gone as the Padres win 109 games.
What a trade-off.
All right, 844-570-1360. Let's go to Dave on line 1. Dave, appreciate you calling in as always. You're on with Jon and Jim.
Only in San Diego are we going to celebrate.
Right.
Garcia's gone, man.
He's gone.
This is so Padre-esque. But look, a couple of things. First of all, could you imagine how the Red Sox feel today? They get rid of Verdugo, give him to the evil empire. And the evil empire also gets Soto. So they're suffering with us. Trust me. I'm a Red Sox fan myself from birth, along with being the Padres, and it's a double whammy. So here's the thing. We've talked about this for months, right? And the only thing I've ever said is if you've got to trade this guy, then you better get some value back. And I don't see any value in any of this. And that's the problem. It's not so much the trade. We knew that was coming. We knew the financials being devastating what they have been. But if this is the best you can do in the trade market, then hell, let's just go out and have, recycled cans and bottles and raise money however we have to do it every day at Petco Park and bring the guy back and say the hell with him.
Dave, thank you. I mean, is that what we're thinking seriously? I mean, is the return, it's one Yankees top 10 prospect, a 28-year-old starter in Michael King. Is this return so meh that you'd prefer not to entertain it because you were expecting the top prospect in the organization, Jason Dominguez, and you're getting Michael King?
I mean, Michael King's a nice pitcher. He's not even close to Juan Soto's stature at all. Like, I'm sorry. Any one of these players that is being returned here from the Yankees, guess what? They're not Juan Soto.
But that's kind of the point.
I know that's the point. The value you're getting back on first glance, to me, isn't the type of value that you need to win next year. Like, isn't it about, and we talk a lot about this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about 2026.
Right.
I don't care about 2025. I care about 2024.
Mm-hmm.
If Juan Soto remained on this team, who says they can't go out and still get a pitcher? Like, there's this notion that no matter what, if Juan Soto was on this team, no matter what, they could not have gone out and done anything else. Who knows
are
that?
they a pitcher? I mean, is it, hey, go replace Snell, or is it go replace Snell, Lugo, Waka, Martinez, Hader?
Well, guess what? Now you have to replace Snell,
Right,
Waka,
and Soto.
Martinez, and Soto.
Yes, and you're 100% right. The difference being, and I'm not saying this is a good thing, the difference being you have money. So that's the difference. You get some pieces back, you lose Juan Soto, and you have money to quote unquote play with, because without the money, how do you properly complete the roster? I think it's the argument they've probably been going back and forth on in their head. Shoot, you asked AJ Preller at Mike Schilt's press conference, and I'm being serious about it. Like, what's the plan, dude? Because everyone wants to know. What's the plan with Juan Soto? And he even admitted 2 weeks ago that, yeah, we love our position players, but let's be honest, we need pitching.
Yeah.
How do we address it?
I don't care about the value of any Yankees prospect. They're not Juan Soto.
Not today, they're not. There's no question about it.
And by the way, Michael King, he's not this guy that's under control for the next 5 years.
2 years.
2 years.
844-570-1360. Let's go to the phones. Alex on line 5. Alex, appreciate you calling in. You're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, man.
What up?
What up? Hey, I think a lot of us are just thinking with our hearts, honestly. I know you guys said a lot of things that hit at home with losing someone like Juan Soto, a 26-year-old who's probably a Hall of Famer already.
It's 24.
But in reality, we have to think of our team if we want to win now. With Juan Soto on the team, you don't win now. You lost 800 innings. Let's be honest, in baseball, pitching wins championships. You lose 800 innings, you're not going to replace it with the payroll that we have. So you add guys like King and Brito and Vasquez and other guys. Are they the other guys that we want? No, obviously not. But they're guys that are going to replace a lot of innings. I personally think replacing Soto is a lot easier than replacing 4 or 5 guys and the stuff that we lost. So
Alex, I just got to, are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just checking. Thanks for the call, buddy.
Wait, why?
Did he just say that it's easier to replace Juan Soto than it is to replace 3 pitchers?
Here's the thing.
What?
You got to complete a puzzle. And you can't complete it. You trade Soto, you've hurt your puzzle. Everyone says it. You say it. You think they keep Soto and they have a well-rounded roster?
We'll never know.
No, that's not true.
I know it's a necessary.
That's not true.
I know that it's probably a necessary evil. Yes, I agree with that. That building, I guess, I don't know. You're major league. You're getting major league talent instead of minor league talent if you trade Juan Soto, right? Like, you have an opportunity to put major league talent on the roster instead of having Juan Soto on it with more or less minor league talent. I understand that, but let me just hold on. Juan Soto's one of one, guys. Okay, replacing Juan Soto will not be easy.
Well, let me say this, and I agree. I was the
neither
biggest
will be
fan.
Replacing Blake Snell.
Right?
Give me a break.
I was the biggest proponent in the history of proponents of the Juan Soto trade. But here's the one thing I would say: he had a really good season a year ago. Not his best career season. And how impactful was he for the team a year ago? We watched it all. We saw his April where he didn't perform. He had a massive September for a team that was 10 games out of it at one point. So, I think if we actually went back and if we're being fair, and I've been the biggest fan of Soto, but if I'm going to be, critical or fair, I think Soto is a great player that is primed for a great year, even better in New York in a walk year. But what he did in San Diego in 2023 was not a top 10 all-time Padre year. We're not watching a top 10 Padre walk either. Would you agree with that? I mean, 200 games here. Good production. Not Hall of Fame production here. Very good production here. I mean, what was their record with Juan Soto in the 200 regular season games? 5 games over 500? Maybe.
I don't know.
They made an NLCS. He was on the team. I thought he had big moments. I don't know if he was the reason why
Is that Juan Soto's
they made
fault?
the National League Championship Series.
Is that Soto's fault?
No, but
or
I'm saying that he
Preller?
didn't have those impactful moments a year ago that you would have expected potentially from a player of his caliber. Is that fair?
He could have had a better season. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So, like, I thought if you ask me who was more important for the Padres, Blake Snell or Juan Soto, it's easy.
Okay.
Last year.
Now the Padres are in a position where going forward, and the deal's not finalized, but it's too close not to happen, I feel like. And if it falls apart, it'd be the funniest thing ever. But you are now looking at next year. You have to replace the Cy Young Award winner. You have to replace the best closer in baseball last year. You have to replace a top, 6, 7, 8 hitter in the game.
Yeah, I mean, top 10.
Okay.
Top 10.
All right. Good luck.
Kevin Acee is going to join us on the other side from Nashville. The latest from Kevin Acee, our Padres insider in Nashville, will join us on the other side.
That's not a good sign if he's joining us, by the way.
We're going to get to your calls as well. Stay where you are if you want to weigh in, 844-570-1360. He's our Padres insider. He's covered the story all week long. What's the latest on Juan Soto to the Yankees? Is it happening or not? Kevin Acee will join us next on Jon and Jim. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider from the winter meetings in Nashville with the latest on a possible Juan Soto trade. That's next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Macy's Backstage. Aztecs basketball last night lost to Grand Canyon University 79-73. They're 7-2 on the year. Their next game is this Saturday at Viejas Arena versus UC Irvine, 7:30 tip-off there. What will you find at a Macy's Backstage? How about the perfect holiday gifts? Just $25 and under, like matching family PJs, fragrance sets, toys, and more. Find the latest trends, new arrivals, and great prices at Macy's Backstage store near you.
All right, let's get right to it because Kevin is busy. He's been in Nashville covering this story, the latest on the possibility of Juan Soto being traded to the New York Yankees. Kevin, we always appreciate it. I know it's been a crazy 24, 48 hours. As you see it on the ground in Nashville at the baseball winter meetings, what is the latest here involving Juan Soto?
I don't see any reason that the trade doesn't get done. I mean, people have been saying that for 6 hours though. So I don't see any reason. All the reports out of New York about who's involved are evidently accurate. So it looks like it's going to happen. Any of these other details in tweets are nothing more than interesting details. As I don't think that the deal is in peril.
So I guess then what's the holdup here? I mean, it feels like this deal's been.
I mean, it's a pretty massive deal, right?
Yeah.
And maybe now you got to leave room for the fact that maybe there is another player or there's another detail or maybe someone's medical didn't check out. You always have to leave room for that. But you've got, look, this is one of the things in this day and age where there's, all the breathless reporting. And when you have a team like the Yankees that, leaks a lot of stuff, details come out and we all go, oh, okay, deal done. Well, not really. These deals take a long time to go, come to fruition when you have the final agreement, you have the notification of players, you have letting the league know, it getting approved, and that's after like the medicals and all that. So, I mean, it confuses things when there is so much that is leaked.
No, that makes sense. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He's with us right now on Jon and Jim. Let me ask this. In terms of priorities, Kevin, like if you put it in order of 1 and 2, is the priority to get the most prospect capital back, or is the priority to free up payroll to allow you flexibility?
It's pitching, starting pitching, and payroll flexibility. I mean, you know, they're not done getting starting pitchers, but like if the season started tomorrow, they could fill their rotation now. I mean, you know, you wouldn't feel great about going Darvish, Musgrove, Michael King, you know, Johnny Brito, and Randy Vasquez, but you know, you didn't have 5 starting pitchers yesterday, or I guess you still don't technically now.
Yeah.
So, and you got a backup catcher, a guy who started the requisite 70 games. They think Luis Campusano's a 90 game guy or more. And so you got your backup catcher. You got 4 guys probably going to be on the team, and then, you know, as I wrote today, looking forward 2025, you got another potentially strong piece of your rotation in 25 in Thorpe. So that's one of the Yankees' top prospects. That's a top 100 prospect. So, but look, for whatever you want to say, like, hey, they've gotten their payroll down to below $150 million. Now they can make some moves, get Lee, the Korean star, get another outfielder, maybe get Corbin Burns. You can, you know, this is all good, and you can be as positive as you want. There's no way to, you know, get around the fact that this was a salary down.
Okay, yeah. So, you know, being it that is, you know, hey, got to get the salary down to a level that feels comfortable. Was there any discussion at all this offseason about a pathway or a plan to have Juan Soto on this roster next year?
Lots of discussion. That's because AJ Preller and his closest confidants don't sleep, because this was also the result that almost certainly was going to happen. But absolutely, they wanted to keep Juan Soto. I mean, they're you know, I don't want to say scared, but like they're very cognizant of the fact, or the reality that he may have an incredible season, and that would have been great to have. It really would have. But the reality is also they still have 3 really good players at the top of their lineup that should produce. As a matter of fact, kind of like have to produce if the Padres are going to be good. That was the same as last year, that, you know, 3 of those 4 needed to produce, and really only one of them did at a level that was his career norms. But you've got Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, and Xander Bogaerts at the top of your order. That's still like a really good team, and that's the other caveat that has to be explained. So, you know, look, okay, you're excited about who you got back. You accomplished some goals, but it was a salary dump. But it's not a fire sale, because you're still a contending team. You have absolutely every intention of being a contending team. And that I don't see the argument that they're not still or that they won't be. They have some additions to still make, but given that, and that now after this deal, they would have the room to do so. I don't see why anyone would not consider them to be a contender.
Kevin Acee is our Padres insider with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego's to be the quote unquote prize, right? Who's the high ceiling? Is it Drew Thorpe, or is it the 28-year-old Michael King, who's only got 2 years of control left?
It's Michael King in terms of in the immediate sense. I believe that's how, in my story that is ready to go and awaiting a final word, in the immediate sense, it's Michael King, and he was the guy that had to be included. And you could say that Thorpe essentially had to be included too, because the Padres are thinking long-term as well. And King has 2 years left, and so there needed to be. But in terms of, if you're talking about like for this contending team in 2024, King has got to be considered the centerpiece there.
And also, it looks like Trent Grisham is going to be involved in this deal as well. So, I mean, going forward, Kevin, they have one outfielder in Fernando Tatis Jr. I know Grisham, say whatever you want about Grisham, but, you know, he played a lot for this team last year. And you're going to have to get another center fielder, potentially a left fielder with the, the departure of Juan Soto here. You got to try to, replace. You can't actually do it, but, you're replacing a Cy Young Award winner in Blake Snell and 700 plus innings from your rotation and bullpen here. I mean, do you think they're going to use this money and allocate it like right away or not?
You mean right away, like this offseason? Absolutely. They are. I mean, the reason I say, right, like when we were talking about, did they have a plan that was to keep, that included keeping Juan Soto? Was that one of their possibilities? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
However, this unloading Juan Soto was always the biggest step. It was the quickest way to get to where they needed for two reasons. It was almost certainly always going to bring back at least one starting pitcher, and it was going to allow them to shed $30+ million. So that was big. The other ways that they could have possibly gotten to shedding that money, I mean, that's asking an awful lot. So that's why this was pretty much a done deal. But they're going to spend this money. They're getting down to 150. Now look, there are some people out there that while the Padres will, to some extent, has never denied they need to get down to what I and others have reported is around $200 million. They've kind of like said that's overblown and all that. There are others around the league that say they need to get even lower than that. So, now, I stand by the 190, 200 million mark. So that means I have them now at below 150, and that gives them what should be plenty of money to round out this roster. They have added at least one starter, probably a couple, a bullpen piece, a backup catcher. So the needs are, as you just clearly elucidated, and I think they probably need another bullpen piece, at least one more, if not frontline starter, I mean, solid number 3. The outfielders for sure. And I think that that's doable for whatever it is, $35 million.
Who's mandating this salary dump? Like, who is telling AJ Preller that he has to make these trades to get this money down?
Well, they have assured Major League Baseball they're going to come into alignment with their debt ratio. I mean, the fact is that, they've extended themselves, and they were trying, and you could say they're still in the process of trying to figure out what is it San Diego can support, because how much more than 3.2 million fans are they going to Petco Park? How high can they raise prices? And then align that with the payroll. It was never going to stay at 256 or 250, whatever it was. It never, ever was. But now it's been a couple years now. There is a pretty sizable fine that comes with being out of alignment with what you're allowed to have in terms of your debt. And so the Padres need to get that.
Kevin, a couple of more before you go. Kevin Ace is our Padres insider. We know it's busy. Was there ever discussions about, to your knowledge, the top prospect in the Yankees organization, not a pitcher, maybe not the same need that the Padres have, but Jason Dominguez coming off an elbow situation, isn't even going to start the year healthy, I don't believe, but is a very young outfield prospect in the Yankees organization. Did any of these conversations center around Jason Dominguez or not?
Early on, and here's why I say that. Look, the Padres, I mean, you scratch and you claw for every bit of information. The Yankees are like a sieve.
Yep.
All right. And there's a lot of media there, and I'm not going to try to pretend I understand the dynamic of why the Yankees release so many things, but it obviously works for them there. And the Padres have marveled. Multiple people inside the Padres organization have marveled at the volume of information about this trade that has gotten out to the New York media and the accuracy. And I believe that Dominguez was mentioned early on. Now, I don't even know what to read into that, because that's how trades go, right? Like, that's how trade talks go, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to throw out, you're going to be like, well, okay, so it's this type of player is probably where it starts at, right? And, this level of player, and then it's, gets down to like, okay, so it's this group of player or this group of player. And, so I don't know that if he was mentioned that, like, how serious that was, but it was going to take, right? Like, it was going to take major league players, young, controllable, cheaper, but good major league players, and at least one good prospect. And I think Thorpe fits that bill.
And finally, for me, Kevin, and I know this is going to be a question that it's just opinion based, right? It's not even close to factual at all from you, but just your opinion. If Peter Seidler were still here, would this be happening? You think
The cutting of the salary,
the trading of Soto and cutting of salary and getting this thing down to a substantially lower than it was this year?
Yes, it was already in the works. It just was. So look, it was always a plan. I can't stress that enough. I'm not saying that it was going to come this offseason. Had they made the playoffs? Had they won the World Series? I don't know, but I don't know that was going to be enough to keep it from having to get down some this year. But then, I think the $50 million loan in September or August, whenever it was, overblown in terms of because they're one of, I've heard it estimated as many as 15 teams that did that and do it on a regular basis. But it did, increase their debt. This was always going to happen. They were always going to get spending to a more responsible level. I wrote about it today in that last interview I did with Peter. Even he talked about it, that they are really looking forward to, their plan is to keep an abundance of these young guys that are, double A now, single A, high A, mostly double A guys now, because they believe that in 25, they can supplement their high paid core with a low paid core. And that is particularly in the pitching. They have a lot of starters and relievers they believe strongly in. I'm not saying that those guys are going to spend all of 2025, but many of them are going to be here in 24 at some point. And that is how you start to balance it out and keep your payroll in the 180, 170, 190, which guys like, as sometimes like this year, when the top 3 teams in payroll miss the playoffs, top 10 is top 12. That's still a team that gives you a chance to make the playoffs, gives you a really good chance to make the playoffs. And then look at the teams that were in the World Series this year. It's a new ball game out there. That's why you have 24, 25 teams trying to compete this year. It's a new Major League Baseball. And, the Padres showed last year, okay, top 3 payroll, we're all really excited. I mean, how about this? How about you have a more well-rounded team and see what happens?
Kevin, we're up against it. We have 60 seconds, so we've taken too much of your time. But was there or is there any other path to get the payroll down without a trade of Juan Soto? Or was this the most reasonable way to do it? As in, there's other players with no trade clauses. There's players like Jay Cronenworth. They don't make the same amount of money, or Trent Grisham. Is there any other avenue they thought about pursuing before pursuing this Soto route?
No trade clauses. Let's get it out there, right? Basically, the other parts of what is now the big 3, they all have them. Look, no one wants Bogarts after that. Manny's not going to agree to a trade. Tatis, I don't think at this point is going to agree to a trade, though. Certainly, that I guess was a possibility. Doesn't save you that much money. Don't in any way read into that I said that they want to trade Tatis. But
No, we're not.
Trying to play along here, right?
Yep.
It was going to take a lot, right? Trade Jay Cronenworth, which still might happen. But there's $7 million for next year. And piecemeal, Juan Soto was always, that's why all of Scott Boras is bluster, and God bless Scott. But that's why all of the reading into everything, it's guys, this was 80, 90% going to happen.
Kevin, great reporting. Thank you. Safe travels. We'll see if this thing gets done today or not. Thank you for doing it, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Right on. Take care.
Kevin Acee, our Padres insider. Let's react. And your phone calls next on Jon and Jim. Our reaction to our conversation with our Padres insider Kevin Acee, plus your calls. What are you thinking, Padres fans, as we wait on a potential trade of Juan Soto? 844-570-1360. That's next. All right, Jon and Jim back with you. We just had Kevin Acee on the show. We're reacting to the possibility of Juan Soto being traded here today to the New York Yankees. At last report, the holdup is the medicals on the Padres side. The Padres reviewing medicals. Let's go to the phones. People have been very patient. We're going to start with Jeff here. Brent, Jeff on line 4 has been waiting for over 30 minutes. Jeff, we appreciate your patience. Thanks for hopping on with Jon and Jim. What's up?
Hey, I really think it's going to be a good move, and I know that there's a lot of grief over losing a superstar hitter, but I also think that this has to happen because if he hadn't, he would still be playing throughout the year, and if the team did poorly, they'd think, why didn't we trade him, or when are we going to trade him? And I just personally think that this team needs to establish a new identity, a new face. They've got to have, some image, or they've got to have some role to play with. All these superstars last year didn't quite do it. They didn't have enough backup. They didn't have the support. Got to have some changes in the faces and the people out there so that maybe they get a new team dynamic going or something. But yes, it's a loss. You lose a big superstar, but you got to think of like AJ's not done. Who knows what we'll have when the season starts? And we got to try to show a little faith. And it sounds like the Padres were already knowing that they were going to need to do this. Kind of like a sailboat. You got to go back and forth to get to your destination. Well, they went one way. Now they're going the other way, but hopefully they're still heading for the playoffs. And that's their goal. And look at a team like the Diamondbacks. It can happen.
Jeff, thank you. I mean, it's a tough sell. And by the way, it's very difficult to see what the Diamondbacks have done over the last 3 years and the way in which they've done it and compare it to what the Padres have done over the last 3 years. Completely different methodology and thinking, spending. Diamondbacks lost 100 games as recently as what, 2 seasons ago?
Yeah.
And have done it with a young core. And the Padres have done it with a veteran core and by spending money in free agency.
Preller can't build a cohesive roster to win, so he has to trade one of the best players in baseball to try to build a cohesive roster to win.
Right. And that's assuming he can even do that.
Yeah. Now, Kevin Acee did say that they're going to allocate this money. And that was what I was worried about. Like when you hear salary dumps, which is what Kevin said, you start thinking, oh boy, here we go. Here we go. They need to, quote, save money instead of investing it back into the team. So whatever money that is saved here, which is what, around 40 million maybe? Because you got 33 for Soto and about 5 or 6 for Trent.
Mm-hmm.
Added on to the 10 to 20 that they had already.
Sure.
So what is that? I can't do math.
Yeah, 50 to 60.
Okay, 50 to 60. If they spend 40 of it, is that good enough? Is that gonna build out a cohesive roster that replaces Blake Snell and Juan Soto and Josh Hader?
Kevin said yes.
And Seth Lugo
Kevin
and Michael
says
Wacha?
yes.
Okay. Well,
Kevin said, and by the way, he also said there are those that are speculating that while he sticks by his reporting of 190 to 200 payroll, there are those that believe it'll be far below that. And if that does happen, if they end up at 160, 165, even 170, then I can't be told that it's not a teardown and a fire sale. If you're going from 260 to 160,
that's a big drop.
Massive.
Big drop.
Biggest in baseball by far.
Easy.
Let's sneak in one more call here. We want to hear from you. 844-570-1360. We're on Soto Watch like the rest of San Diego. Let's go to Michael. You're on with Jon and Jim. Michael, thank you.
My guy.
What's up, man?
In the history of baseball, contract years, the boys go ham. And who says AJ is going to be here for these prospects, picking up in these trades?
I agree.
This man has more lifelines than who wants to be a millionaire. So the question is, does the death of Peter Seidler solidify AJ's spot in San Diego for the next 5 years? Like, we can hope these prospects, are good, but we know Soto is one bad man. That's it.
Thank you,
Like
Michael.
bad man is in a good man?
He's a bad mother. You know what?
So someone you want.
Exactly.
All right, more of your calls on the other side, plus the wrap. Plus, we have great giveaways for you today. A 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration and a pair of Aztec tickets for Saturday at Viejas Arena, San Diego State and UC Irvine. The wrap on the other side, we're on Soto Watch. We've got the very latest for you. We're with you until 6 p.m. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. Hey guys, it is Schaefer. You know how much I love kombucha, and Novo Brazil Brewing is a proud supporter, by the way, of the Mesa Foundation and San Diego State Aztecs men's basketball. In fact, earlier in the fall, I think in November, just a week or so ago, I was down at the brewery with Lamont Butler, Jaden Ledee, Micah Parrish, Kate Alger, tasting different Nova kombucha flavors because they've got a new co-branded product that's going to be launched this winter. They've got so much going on. They've got great spots throughout San Diego County. In fact, they're celebrating their 1-year anniversary at IB, their Imperial Beach location, this Saturday. Hope to see you down there this Saturday. Doors open at noon. It's an amazing spot right on the water. It's only been open for a year. They'll celebrate their anniversary this Saturday. Doors open at noon. Party starts at 1. Music until 7:30. I was down at their Otay Ranch location, Otay Mesa location. This past weekend, they were celebrating their 4-year anniversary. They're getting ready to open a fresh new spot in Mission Valley later this month, Novo Brazil Mission Valley. It's going to be a 350-seat restaurant, full bar menu, 60 taps of Novo Brazil beer. They've got Nova kombucha. Nothing compares to their Nova kombucha. I recently picked some up at Windmill Farms, in fact. They've got seltzers. They've got amazing food offerings, sandwiches, tacos, burgers, empanadas, appetizers, and Brazilian-inspired entrees. For more information, go to novobrew.com. Again, novobrew.com, and we'll see you this weekend for their 1-year anniversary party in IB. Jared, guys, thanks for hanging out. If you guys are here right now, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, we appreciate that. We really do appreciate your support of the channel. We get to these super chats that you guys contribute with during our breaks. So if you have something on your mind, you want to talk about this trade, you want to support the channel, click the $sign below the chat box, like our member and longtime supporter and viewer, Jared. Jared, thanks for hanging out, man. He says, give me Jung-Hoo Lee, baby, the soul of San Diego. Padres have been rumored, and source reporting is that the Padres are one of a handful of teams in on Jung-Hoo Lee. Obviously, some of this is though contingent on whether or not they move Juan Soto. But again, if you add Lee and lost Soto, I mean, obviously that's not a win, but I think there would be a level of excitement if you did add a 25-year-old outfielder to your organization. And then Jared following up with this, wouldn't need to trade Soto if Preller didn't F up. A lot of this is going to fall on AJ Preller. We've talked about this for weeks on end. There's no other way to look at it. I'm sure there's other people accountable as well, too. But Preller's going to take a lot of accountability and blame if Juan Soto is ultimately moved.
That's going to make it that much worse if Juan Soto's moved to the Yankees and he ends up signing a 12-year deal to stay there. Like you're going to be trading 12. Now, granted, it's a huge contract. Man, these pitchers that get back and prospects turn out to be good.
All right, Jared, we appreciate it, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Please subscribe, smash the like button for us. Thanks for the supers. We'll get to them during breaks. We will be back momentarily. Thanks, guys.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with the Aztecs. Last night, they lost to Grand Canyon University on the road. They're now 7-2 on the year. Next up, they'll take on UC Irvine this Saturday at Viejas Arena. 7:30 tip. 7 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts right here on San Diego Sports 760. Staples holiday deals mean amazing savings for the holiday season. Right now, save 50% on custom holiday cards and invitations, as well as custom photo gifts like mugs and calendars. Offer ends 12/16. Visit staples.com/print for more details. Have yourself a merry little holiday at Staples.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It's hour 2 of Jon and Jim. We're with you until 6. We're waiting like San Diego is, like baseball is, for a potential trade of Juan Soto to the New York Yankees. What's the holdup, you ask, Jim? I'm telling you, I'm glad that you can get in some tricky spots when you do content for a living. Radio, YouTube, talk sports, whatever, right? We've gotten.
This is why, and who knows if this is true or not.
This is not true.
Oh,
we're about to play.
Yeah, no,
Give me a break.
I know. Yeah, give me a break.
Yep.
I agree with you.
Yep.
This is why me and Jon don't
do this.
Fancy ourselves to be guys that break news or anything, right? You have like the guys, other people on other channels or YouTube or whatever the case may be, think that they like know stuff. It's like, shut up, you don't know anything.
Right, exactly.
And it's like they're doing it to get clicks. All right. But this type of stuff, and he's a big time YouTube channel. John Boy is big.
Huge.
All right. He's massive. Millions of subscribers and whatever the case may be. So when you say stuff like this, like you can't say these things lightly because people are going to look at it and take it to be true.
All right. So what we're talking about is this. This is like in a Talkin' Yanks YouTube channel discussion about the Juan Soto trade. Just take a listen to these 20 seconds.
Did you hear the theory that BBD started that the Yankees are doctoring King's X-rays and adding in bone spurs so that they switch back to Clark?
I had not heard that. That is new to me.
I mean,
that has to be a joke, right?
That had Brian Cashman, 25-year general manager of the New York Yankees, is going to play that game on the way out. They're going to doctor medical records. It's not to say it's never happened in baseball history. They're going to doctor medical records to change the return to San Diego tonight. That's the plan of the New York Yankees.
But
then maybe this deal doesn't get done.
It is interesting though that it's kind of at a holdup right now. Like, what's the holdup? Why is it hold up? I mean, how long does it take Preller to review medicals
on 5 players, all pitchers? You know what I mean?
And that's the toughest thing because we know the history of the Padres when it comes to Tommy John surgeries and pitchers that get their arm blown out. I mean it's just plethora of players under Preller, under his regime, that have had their arms blown out multiple times. So, I mean, part of me is like, do you really trust Preller to get this right? Probably not. But at the same time, you better be as diligent as ever to make sure. I mean, imagine, just hypothetically speaking, we're talking about worst case scenarios for this team. What if Michael King blows his arm out next year? I mean,
that's the unpredictable.
I know
right?
those are unpredictables, but like, it's going to be on Preller.
Yeah, but I mean, some of it, you understand, and you're right. At the end of the day, he'll be judged on what happens with his team, win or lose, and who's healthy, who's not.
You better make sure these guys are healthy.
But how can you? How can you guarantee that the players you get back are going to be healthy in 2024? Unfortunately, it doesn't work.
When a guy like trips over a rock on the stairs,
no, but I'm saying this guy, if this guy
something.
tears his elbow, are we going to be like that? They should have seen it in the medical. That's hard to do. It's very hard to do.
Yeah, but this organization and the history of arm injuries under Preller.
I know. What are the options other than to try to acquire talent that helps you? I mean, I understand the point. I mean, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna put Michael King's future arm injuries, if they occur, on Preller.
Well, you saw earlier this past offseason, it wasn't a pitcher, but Carlos Correa went through 2 different medical physicals and
I thought that was a little bit of buyer's remorse from San Francisco initially.
$350 million for that guy.
Yeah,
probably
a little bit of that, but
still, it happened with the Mets too. It wasn't just the Giants.
Yeah, no, you're right. That was a weird circumstance. You're right. No, let me be clear. They need to get the medicals accurate, but I'm saying that if you acquire pitchers who are deemed to be healthy, and then in the future they experience arm injuries, that's tough to navigate. That we follow it from such a narrow lens of Padres baseball. The truth is, all 30 clubs
because you can't
deal with arm injuries.
You can't afford to have, especially. I think Michael King is the one. All these other guys, Drew Thorpe, he's a minor leaguer, double-A guy.
Yep.
All right, but Michael King especially, you are putting him in your rotation next year. That is a major league pitcher that you are going to be seeing a lot of next year if you're a Padres fan.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be a perfect shape, perfect condition.
Well, he's got to be in perfect condition when you acquire him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. It's like Musgrove had been a workhorse until he wasn't a workhorse.
But also those things of, I dropped a dumbbell on my foot.
But he even had arm stuff last year. Darvish has had back stuff 2 of the last 3 years. It's hard to predict.
Yeah.
They signed Darvish. They spent $100 million on Darvish, and he hasn't been healthy, and he's older. But you're right. I mean, I think if you make this trade, you want to get the medicals right. The idea that the New York Yankees are messing with Michael King's medicals so that King isn't included in the deal and someone else is crazy to me.
Yep.
But it's sports and it's social media and it's content, and never say never. But by the way, think about this, John Boy and all these reporters, the Andy Martinos, if this deal doesn't get done, I'm fine with the deal not getting done.
Me too.
Because it's Juan Soto leaving for New York. New Yorkers are not fine with the deal not getting done.
Pitchforks is going to be.
So when you start throwing things like this out there and you got to deal with New York Yankee fans, good luck when you throw stuff like this out there. If this halts a deal, delays a deal, gets Major League Baseball involved, I mean, this isn't good from a Yankee perspective. I don't really care. From a Padre perspective, it might be good. I mean, maybe they have additional time to think on it and say, you know what? We're not going to make this deal. And here's why. And we'll live to see another day. Or maybe we can get a better deal elsewhere. This thing has been so close to done for so long that it is a little odd that it's still taking this time. Kevin Acee was just on 30 minutes ago with us, and the exact words Kevin said were this: I don't see any reason that the trade doesn't get done. He went on to say, it looks like it's going to happen. So we've heard that, though, for 24 hours, but now you got people like John Boy saying that maybe the Yankees are doctoring medical records. They don't want to move Michael King. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah. But also my theory, too, is Kevin would not have joined us if it was imminent.
If it was imminent?
Right? I mean, you got to be ready.
Right.
You got to be ready. And knowing Kevin, he's not going to want to do an interview
if the
deal is about to get done. No reporter for any team would want to do that.
Right.
So when the second you're like, oh yeah, Kevin Acee is going to join us next, oh, that's not great news. Meaning,
right,
probably not going to happen within the next 30 minutes.
You and I were texting at 7:30 in the morning, and I said 10 a.m. wrap-up show. And then at 9 a.m., we're like, this is going to happen before we even get on the air at 10 a.m.
You were like, dude, should we start right now?
Should we just start at 9:30? And we're like, no, we can wait till 10. Even if it happens, we're fine. Then we stay on till essentially noon. We're like, well, it's obviously getting done during Darren's show, which is great because then we're on afterwards and we can discuss it in greater detail.
Right.
And then we come on, we're like, well, it's obviously getting done between now and 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Is it?
I mean, they left. Cashman and Boone left the winter meetings.
But maybe they did put the ball in the Padres court. Like, call us when you've reviewed medicals.
Sure, they have Wi-Fi on the plane, right? You can get phone calls on the plane.
It's not a long flight. I mean, Nashville, New York, they're there in 90 minutes.
They're probably already home.
2 hours.
They're not flying Alaska Airlines, Jim. They got
Or
a
Spirit,
private jet.
yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, they have Wi-Fi.
They're the
Right.
Yankees. I'm just saying.
I'm just wondering. Listen, I can leave too if you say, here's the deal. The deal is final pending medical, although we haven't heard that. Maybe John Morosi finalizing a deal. It's still bottom right of MLB Network. But Jeff Passan, who was on ESPN, we don't have the audio, but he said nothing is done until it's done. He didn't say done pending physical.
Yeah.
Because you typically see that. If a deal is done, you'd see done pending physicals. We haven't yet seen that. We've seen John Morosi go as far as say Yankees and Padres are finalizing an agreement on a Juan Soto trade. But no one's gone further than that as of yet, unless I've missed something.
I don't think you've missed anything.
It's a big waiting game.
It is. We're just sitting and waiting.
Do we want to get to the wrap while we have a moment?
Sure.
All right, let's get to those.
Are you worried about the Aztecs after their loss at Grand Canyon last night?
No, I'm not. There are things with how they are playing that I am concerned with. The rebounding is an issue. The scoring from other places other than Reese Waters and Jaden Ledee. I mean, Lamont's shooting what, 30% from the free throw line? Like, that's not good. He had 2 free throws in the game that were big, and he missed them both. Darion Trammell needs to get his scoring up consistently. Can't be scoring a bunch of points at the end of the game when you're down by 15. So there are things that I am concerned with this team. But like last night, I put it on Twitter, and I know you were arguing with people too. Like, as of right now, losing to Grand Canyon on the road it's not a bad loss.
No, it's actually like deemed a good one.
Because it's a quad 1 game. Grand Canyon, I think, is going to be really good. If you watched that game last night,
yeah, they got like an NBA player.
It's really hard to tell me after watching that game last night that Grand Canyon won't be a good basketball team.
I don't know if they're going to play like that all season long.
Yeah, true.
But they've got legitimate talent. I would say this. They're 7-2 San Diego State with 2 quad 1 road losses.
The number 1 net team in the country.
Imagine
is BYU.
if they didn't play the schedule and they just had 2 guarantees at home of like Mississippi Valley State and Texas Southern. And they were just 9-0, but they've challenged themselves with BYU and Grand Canyon, and they're still going to do it with Gonzaga. By the way, a year ago, they lost 7 games. So it wasn't perfect. It's very rare to have perfect, smooth sailing over the course of an entirety of a year. I'm more a fan of testing yourself, dealing with the adversity, and being better off for it, what they did a year ago with Maui, than the alternative. And I think that's what they're going through right now because they challenged themselves with the schedule.
That Grand Canyon student section was nuts, by
The
the
whole
way.
place is nuts.
They were like crowd surfing guys from the bottom all the way back up to the rafters, and they were nuts.
They were
No
crazy.
doubt.
Yeah, it was a crazy environment.
But again, it's hard to look at any one game. And like last year, they lost to St. Mary's on a neutral floor. They lost to New Mexico at home. They made a national championship. I'm not saying that that's guaranteed to happen again. Don't make a mistake. But the season is long, and one road loss against a good team doesn't change my opinion on San Diego State.
Right.
Next question.
If quarterback recruit Danny O'Neal signs with the Aztecs, do you think he'll start as a true freshman?
Well, I got to see what else they get. If Danny O'Neal is all they get, plus whoever they have on this roster now, I don't have it in front of me.
Right.
I think there'd be a shot.
You'd think there'd be a shot that he could start as a true freshman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why there wouldn't be at least a shot. Now, here's my guess. My guess is you try to lure Danny O'Neal. You attempt to develop him for a season. You try to bring in a transfer portal quarterback with experience. Easier said than done. There's a lot of interest, obviously, in the portal. And Power 5 teams throw around significant money in name, image, and likeness to bring in quarterbacks. But my guess would be Danny O'Neal comes in, complete speculation. You try to develop him. You bring in a transfer as well. But within 1 year, Danny O'Neal potentially is your future quarterback. That's my speculation.
I say yes, because today's game with the transfer
Yeah, you
portal,
can leave in a year.
if why do you transfer if you're not going to start?
Well, he's a high school kid. He's not a transfer portal guy.
Oh, okay.
But even that, I mean, he could be
still,
in for a year and transfer out.
True.
Happens all the time.
Yeah. My point was just in this day and age of college football, nobody wants to sit. So I can't see him coming in and then just being like, okay, I'll just sit for a year. I think if he comes in, he's going to want to play right away.
Well, he was also going to sit for a year at Colorado with Shedeur Sanders there.
True.
And he already committed there before he decommitted when
That's a
Sean
good
Lewis
point.
left.
That's true.
Yeah, That's a good point. I mean, maybe, listen, a true freshman quarterback, I think most true freshman quarterbacks realize they'll likely be an understudy. How many true freshman starters were there in the country last year? Not a lot.
One I can remember that was any significance was from UCLA. What's the guy's name?
Dante Moore, who was one of 3 starters that they had last year.
Yeah, 5-star plus quarterback recruit coming out of high school.
By the way, one of the UCLA quarterbacks that they got via the portal, Colin Schley, played for Sean Lewis at Kent State before transferring
that's right.
to UCLA.
Because I watched highlights of Kent State. I heard that name a lot.
Yeah. All right, next question.
What is the legacy of Juan Soto in a Padres uniform?
One playoff run that was really good. I would say the legacy is left a lot out there. Like we all were told, and I tried to find it today, but I couldn't. Like Preller proclaimed at the Juan Soto press conference when they traded for him and Josh Bell. We got Juan Soto for 3 playoff runs. This year, which they did in 2022. Next year in 2023 or 2024 as well. They got him for 1. That's a failure. Left a lot on the table.
Yeah, I would say the legacy would be it was this moment in time where there was so much excitement and hype around the Padres organization. I mean, you were rolling when you made that trade, and it ended up being a little more sizzled and steak. I think he's a great player. I really do. I think he's going to have a phenomenal career. I think that it's not going to look good on the other side to have moved a future Hall of Famer. But, you kind of wish for a little more. NLCS is great. There have not been a lot of them in Padres franchise history. You just wish you got a little more, if not a lot more, to be honest with you, when you traded for Juan Soto in terms of team accomplishments. Next question.
Who will have the most impact for the Padres out of the players they're getting from the Yankees?
I would say on first glance, Michael King. You'd hope it's Michael King.
Even with those bone spurs?
Yeah, those fake bone spurs. You'd hope it's Michael King because he's the only guy that seems right now their catcher. What's the catcher's name?
Kyle Higashioka or whatever.
Higashioka. He's a backup catcher. I mean, he's not.
I don't even know how to say his name.
Yeah. I mean, we probably should learn how to say his name.
Sure. He's been in the big leagues for a while. But.
It should be Michael King, and it has to be Michael King. Because you're slotting him in that rotation, like from day one, even though he's made only 9 career starts in the big leagues at 28 years old. I hope it's Michael King, because it would suck if next year Michael King's not good for you.
Yeah. I kind of hope it's Drew Thorpe, who's a former second-round pick out of Cal Poly, who's super young. I think he's now 22 or 23, and he's a 6'4", big, durable, right-handed pitcher. So, like, the idea of like a 6'4", good fastball slider change combination righty, former second-round pick that the Yankees drafted that you could slot into your rotation for like 5 years is appealing to me, as is Michael King, but King is potentially only for 2 years. Thorpe could be for years and years and years. I think any combination of King or Thorpe actually being top of rotation guys, I'm not saying ones, but like 2-ish would be a huge possible win, considering you're getting rid of such a great player. To get like a 2 in a rotation from someone in this trade, I think would be a win.
And whenever this trade is finalized, and whenever
we're 90,
right, whenever we get the actual players that will be traded here and it's all done, we'll have David J on from Matt Friars, because I know he's already writing up stuff on it. Talked to him today, or talked to John Connor today about it. They're already preparing and writing up stuff because the New York media has leaked literally every detail of this trade. So it's very easy for people like Matt Friars to get a head start and a head jump on all of the prospects that are coming back, which is good for them. So we'll know more about these prospects probably later this week from David J of Mad Friars, and we'll know
I like that
just how good these guys are. Because look,
I heard they're all Hall of Famers.
Probably that'd be nice. I mean, Michael King, according to New York fans and Yankees fans,
is like
media,
King Charles.
I mean, he's greater than that. He's better than that. He is probably a mix between a Roger Clemens, Greg Maddux, Pedro Martinez,
and there's a little bit of Babe Ruth when he was pitching in there. Before he got traded.
Okay.
Before the curse of the Bambino.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Because he comes from the Yankees. I get it.
That's right.
Yeah. So we'll see. Who's your guy? Did you say? Oh, yeah, you did. Never mind.
All right. Coming up next, we're on Juan Soto Watch. Also,
I'm like
this
right
hour, your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration. Next hour, your chance to win 2 free tickets to San Diego State, UC Irvine, Saturday night, Viejas Arena. Great giveaways. We're on Juan Soto watch like the rest of you. We'd love to hear from you as you wait on this. How are you feeling, Padres fans? 844-570-1360. That's next. All right, we're on Juan Soto watch, and we want to hear from you. Padres fans, how are you feeling about the possibility of Juan Soto being moved today to the New York Yankees? 844-570-1360, plus great giveaways ahead. Stay with us.
This update's brought to you by Staples Stores. Aztecs lost last night to Grand Canyon University, 79-73. They're now 7-2 on the year. Next up for the Aztecs, they take on UC Irvine this Saturday at Viejas Arena. 7:30 tip. 7 o'clock is when our pregame cover starts right here on San Diego Sports 760. Staples holiday deals mean amazing savings for the holiday season. Right now, save 50% on custom holiday cards and invitations, as well as custom photo gifts like mugs and calendars. Offer ends 12/16. Visit staples.com/print for more details. Have yourself a merry little holiday at Staples.
All right, Jon and Jim with you. If you're driving home, we're waiting like you're waiting on Juan Soto. Is he staying or going? All indications are he's going. Kevin Acey was with us an hour ago. He said all indications are he's going, but until it's official, it's not official.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, then you're doing the same thing we are. We're sitting and waiting.
Exactly. So if you want to, offer your thoughts on the idea of the Padres leaving the winter meetings without Juan Soto, 844-570-1360. Again, 844-570-1360. We're going to hear from Andy Martino, SNY, in a moment. Andy Martino, I don't know if he has slept because last night, probably around 2 a.m. Eastern, kind of dropped a bombshell, like the Yankees are still working on stuff. And then he replied to his tweet and said, and by stuff, I mean trading for Juan Soto. So Andy Martino, who covers the Yankees, is like all in on this trade. And a lot of New York reporters have really sold this idea that this trade's going to happen, that the Yankees are heavily motivated. These teams have agreed on players potentially to move. And now we just wait. And honestly, This is how I feel. And I said this earlier. Like, if Juan Soto doesn't move, I think Padres fans are not going to lose all kinds of sleep. They might be happy about it. But if the Yankees don't land Juan Soto, there's going to be like riots in Manhattan over the next 48 hours.
Nothing will be more hilarious if this trade falls through and like Andy Martino's literally sitting there like, oh boy.
Yeah, like what if we get an announcement right now, like Soto to the Mariners? Like just crosses the timeline, deal's done. So no, I mean,
I'm not until Jeff Passan tweets it and confirms
Exactly.
it. It's not done.
I agree with that.
And it would be the most hilarious thing ever if this fell through and left the Yankees crying. Because the way that they've tried to manipulate this thing through the media,
we don't need Soto. It's only 1 year.
Has been ridiculous. It's been so stupid.
Why would we trade Michael King?
Like
so good.
The propping up of these prospects is sad.
Mhm.
It really is. Like nobody knew who Michael King was yesterday besides Yankees fans. Or 2 days
Or
ago.
like the last week, yeah.
Yeah, last week. No one knew who Drew Thorpe was besides Yankees fans.
Right, but we're supposed to believe that their prospects are so much better than the other 28 teams other than the Padres.
Yeah, give me a break.
You know what I mean? Like other teams have talent too.
Yeah, it's just the Yankees are the most desperate team.
We would never move Jason Dominguez. He's the
Oh my
74th
gosh.
best prospect in baseball. Are you kidding? This is a rental.
Do you think that there is hesitation there because, say Jason Dominguez was healthy? Do you
Mhm.
think that Preller would have pushed more for a Jason Dominguez package?
I don't know. Like, are you getting more pitching because you're not getting Dominguez? Like, if you got Dominguez, is that the deal? But if you don't get Dominguez, you're getting 2, 3, 4 arms, and you could really use them.
It's risky to trade for a guy with a torn UCL.
Not as a position player
As a position,
much.
but at the same time, you would think that his value wouldn't be as high as it potentially
I
would
agree
be.
with that.
I mean, I would have loved if Dominguez was in this deal. If you told me, and I said this before, if you told me Dominguez and Michael King, 2 guys that can help you at the major league level next year,
Now.
now, Dominguez would not be back until the middle of next year. Michael King would be slotted in that rotation right
Day
away.
one.
And Dominguez is a switch hitting power bat outfielder that would replace a loss for you.
That's
That's
21.
21 and under
Elite
control forever.
speed.
Elite speed, under control forever.
Yeah, that gets you reason for optimism.
Yeah, it does. But is it different, and is it not even considered because he's injured? Or
We'll
not?
ask that. You'll probably, when you sit down with AJ Preller next, because you talked to him 2 weeks ago, you can ask that very question.
Yeah, that's why I look at this deal and I'm just like, it doesn't do it for me.
Andy Martino. Okay, so this is within the last hour on SNY reporting at the winter meetings in Nashville. Remember, this has been like Mr. Juan Soto's going to the Yankees, and I'm not saying he's putting his career on it, but he's been talking about it for days and days and weeks and weeks.
Like if it doesn't happen, he's gonna have
vitriol.
People like trying to find where Andy Martino lives.
Okay, hopefully not that. But listen to this. Does it sound like this thing is happening at any moment when you listen to Andy Martino right now on SNY?
Andy, feels like a matter of time here before a deal does get done. What kind of time frame are we looking at for the Yankees to officially get Juan Soto?
Well, Sal, this is getting a little interesting. I will say, I'll give you just the facts of where things stand at this exact moment. The teams do feel like they've agreed on players or a framework on players. They got themselves into review on details like money and medicals over the course of the afternoon. And Brian and I were hearing separately from our sources the same thing, that something could get done or announced today. Right now, however, the Yankees are waiting to hear back from San Diego on, yeah, we're good, we're clear, call the players, we got a deal. So now it's hard to handicap the timeline because you have one half of the trade, one of the 2 teams involved in this trade, kind of sitting on their hands. And another practical human calculation here is that Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman just left this place to go to the airport, and you can't call players to tell them they've been traded when you're on an airplane. So this has evolved a little bit over the past, I'd say, 30 minutes or so.
Interesting.
I mean, okay. So wait, hold on, because we were
What?
told like this thing's done, and now Andy Martino, Mr. I know everything about the Yankees. Well,
This was done at
nobody's heard
9
from
a.m.
the Padres.
This was done at 9 a.m.
Yeah, but nobody's heard from the Padres.
Ooh, Preller's playing hardball.
I mean, are they trying to milk one more player out of it? A little more money on the other side?
I said it, man.
Well, Sal, this is getting a little interesting.
Oh boy.
Oh, great. I'm sure Yankees. Now, again, from a Padres perspective, I'm not losing sleep over keeping Juan Soto for another day.
And I've said this about Preller. He is not going to be pushed around in these type of deals. Do I like that he's making these deals? No, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But for when he has a value set, and he said it like openly yesterday, and we know when he has his eyes set on something that he wants, he ain't going to be pushed around. And if it's not exactly what he wants, he's not going to have anybody else try to dictate it. He is going to dictate the moves.
You think he would walk away at the 11th hour from a deal For what would be the reasoning, I wonder? Would it be because of medicals? Because he doesn't like what he sees or the medical team doesn't? Or because he thinks he can do better and he walks away from the deal at the 11th hour that they've been working on clearly for days?
I mean, I would think medicals would be the reason why you walk away. Or if there's something that you truly do not like and then you try to squeeze
a little more and
you're
then
like,
they're not
hey,
going to do that.
give me Schmidt or whoever else the other
Or
prospect
take
is.
more money from us.
Yeah, or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
You know, like it's Preller not giving in, which is hilarious. And I give him credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope it doesn't. At this moment in time, the funniest thing ever would be if it just blew up,
Fell apart.
Fell apart.
From the Yankees' perspective. I mean, we said from day one, the second I heard the Yankees were involved, that made the Yankees the front runner.
Because they're the
That's
most
how
desperate.
they operate. They're desperate. They're trying to draw attention. They always are thinking about World Series or bust. The idea of Juan Soto in a city like New York, bringing in another star, like they recognize what it means. They were always going to throw in an additional player. Remember, we heard as recently as 48 hours ago, no Thorpe, no King. Well, guess what? We heard today, both Thorpe and King. So they were always going to meet the Padres' needs, but have they fully met them? Is it medical related? Is it money related? Do the Padres want even more? Are the Padres squeezing too much at the end out of a deal like this?
Hey, man, squeeze as much as you want. You're giving them exactly what they want. They can, the Yankees can posture and peacock all they want to the media about how tough it was for them to give up Michael King and Drew Thorpe.
Mm-hmm.
End of the day, they're in those offices fist bumping each other. Like, bro, we just got freaking Juan Soto.
Yeah, end of the day, they're not like, oh, I think we could have got more than Soto. They're not going to say that. Like Chip said, they got exactly what they wanted. The Padres can be like, oh, we could have got more maybe, but the Yankees, they got what they should get and more because they got Grisham too.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be sitting there. The Yankees are, if this deal goes through. The second they trade away Michael King will be the last time they think about Michael King.
Probably true.
Their main focus going forward will be Juan Soto and trying to re-sign him to probably one of the largest contracts in the history of baseball.
All right, on the other side, let's play some trivia, Trainwreck Radio. Then in the 5 o'clock hour, back to Soto Watch. Also, we'll give away Aztec tickets in the 5 o'clock hour. But call right now if you want a free 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration, a great holiday gift. A great holiday gift, a 4-pack of free tickets to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration. The number to call is 844-570-1360. Again, 844-570-1360. They've got a 4-pack of tickets. We have a 4-pack of tickets for you to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration. Call right now if you want those tickets. First 2 callers will be our contestants for sports trivia or trivia. 844-570-1360. Trainwreck Radio. Next. All right, Trainwreck Radio on the other side. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, back to the Juan Soto watch. Plus, we're giving away Aztec men's basketball tickets for Saturday night. Stay with us. Do we want to play that in the 5 o'clock hour? Chris Russo on Shohei Ohtani. Wow. I mean, I had some opinions yesterday. He went a little further than I probably went yesterday.
My opinions were more towards baseball than actually Ohtani.
Did he threaten to retire again?
What?
Who, Chris Russo? Oh, yeah,
remember he was going to retire.
He's like, oh, yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, no, just kidding.
Yeah.
You'll hear from Chris
JK.
Russo on Ohtani's free agent pursuit and the way Ohtani's going about it coming up at 5 p.m. We've Aztec basketball tickets to give away in the 5 o'clock hour as well. We're waiting on Juan Soto. Is this deal going to become official or not? Will it be today or not? We're waiting like you are. And right now, let's get to this.
All right, three questions, two contestants, one lifeline. It's Wednesday. Today's two contestants are Nick and Mike. Nick, you called in first. So you have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
Let's go with John.
Smart.
All right, Mike, you get me, okay?
Yeah, sounds good, Jim.
All right. Brent, what is today's question of the day?
All right, we got a theme going here the last couple days. Juan Soto was fifth in the NL in offensive WAR last season. Today's question: name anyone else in the top 10 in offensive WAR last year in the National League.
In the National League, offensive WAR.
Yeah, so no pitchers.
No pitchers.
No pitchers. No American League.
It's
just NL offensive WAR.
National League. Okay, cool. I like it. Mike, you're up first. What is your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
Oh man,
use your
just
lifeline.
National League.
Just National.
What about? I don't like them, but the Dodgers or Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts. He does not like, but he's on the list.
He's on the list. Yes, he's on the list. All right. Nick, you're up next. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
I gotta go with Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah,
Ronald
number
Acuna Jr. Yeah, pretty good. Mike, you're up next, buddy. What is your second guess? You do have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
Yeah, I'll take the lifeline.
Lifeline. Better than Juan Soto, Freddie Freeman. You take that?
Yeah.
Boom. On
Look
the
at
list.
you, Jim.
Yeah, it's a bunch of Dodgers. Nick, you're up next. What is your second guess? You do have your lifeline if you want to use it.
Thank goodness I don't have to guess a Dodger. Matt Olson.
Matt Olson on the list.
Good
All right.
job.
Oh, man.
Final round, Mike. I know. Final guess here, buddy. You don't have a lifeline, so it's all up to you. Who you got? Top 10.
What about? Oh man. What about? I know Kim did so well. What about Kim? Hassan Kim.
Hassan Kim, top 10 in WAR in National League.
No.
I thought he was. Wow.
So what do we have here then? A chance for
Nick
to walk off?
Yeah, a chance for Nick to walk this baby off. You do have your lifeline still, so what do you got?
Yeah, I need the lifeline.
Honestly, if I would have given the lifeline 1 minute ago, I would have said Hassan Kim.
Wait a second.
Sure.
What I'm going to say then, National League. How about Austin Riley?
I like it. Austin Riley, let's go with him.
How about that? For the walk-off and the win. Ball game.
I am I'm having this game under protest.
Why is that?
I just looked at it.
Hassan Kim?
He's right there.
Well, first of all, you're not supposed to look.
After the fact. I looked after the fact.
Are you looking in offensive WAR? Because I am too, and he's not on my list.
Are you in offensive WAR?
Because I have Acuna #1, Betts and Freeman tied. Yeah, you're not in the right spot.
I looked at just WAR.
He was in Charlotte,
Oh,
Tennessee.
That's because of his defense.
Okay.
Yeah. So just offensive WAR. Yeah.
Just kidding.
That's a good point, though. I mean, I would have guessed Kim, but offensive WAR.
Offensive WAR. Okay.
Congratulations to Nick, but not to Mike or Jim, because Nick has won a very good prize. But before we tell you what the prize is, who else is on this list?
All right, like I said, Acuna was #1. Betts and Freeman were tied for 2. Olson was 4. Soto was 5. Corbin Carroll from Arizona was 6. Lindor from the Mets was 7. Austin Riley 8. Xander Bogaerts, believe it or not, was #9. Yep, 4.8.
Well, a little weird there.
And he was tied. Him and Marte from Arizona were both tied.
Bogaerts was 9th in the National League in offensive WAR.
4.8.
He did have a 4.4 WAR last year. Xander Bogaerts, overall.
So he was a negative WAR defender, but 4.8 offense. Interesting. All right, congratulations, Nick. You've won a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration, where the wonders of the sea meet the joy of Christmas. At SeaWorld San Diego's Christmas celebration, from underwater discoveries to San Diego's largest Christmas tree, the Sky Tower Tree of Lights, experience thrilling rides to Mrs. Claus Christmas Parade, real reindeer, photos with Santa, taste heartwarming traditions, and sing along to a stocking full of soul, featuring America's Got Talent finalist Brian Cheatham. It's a holiday celebration filled with wondrous moments, only at SeaWorld San Diego, November 17th through January 7th. We're waiting on Juan Soto to the Yankees. Will it be finalized within the next hour or not? Plus, in the 5 o'clock hour, we will give away tickets to see the Aztecs Saturday night at Viejas Arena, San Diego State, UC Irvine. Aztecs back home. Critical game Saturday night, 7:30. We'll give those away in the 5 o'clock hour, but we're waiting like you are. Will Juan Soto move or not tonight to the New York Yankees? That's next on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Macy's Back Store. Aztecs, they lost last night to Grand Canyon University, 79-73. Next up for the Aztecs, they take on UC Irvine this Saturday night, 7:30 tip-off, 7 p.m. So our pregame coverage starts right here on San Diego Sports 760. This update has been brought to you by Macy's Back Store.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? 5 o'clock here in San Diego, 8 o'clock in Nashville, I believe. Nashville's in the Eastern time zone, right, Jim? I would always turn to you to know the answer to that.
Where's Nashville?
We're not getting into that conversation. You're going to hear from Chris Russo coming up in a moment. He's not impressed by the Shohei Ohtani free agency tour that nobody's allowed to speak on. We're waiting on Juan Soto's future. Is it in San Diego? Is it in New York with the Yankees, or is it elsewhere? We've heard for the better part of 24 hours that this deal is getting close, yet we're still waiting. We've heard the holdup might be on the Padres side, reviewing medical records, but we don't know. I mean, the bottom line of MLB Network right now is Jon Morosi, Yankees and Padres finalizing an agreement on a Juan Soto trade.
That's been up there for hours.
Like two.
You always get nervous. And I'm just would speak from like a fan of that would be potentially getting the best player of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
You always get nervous when things start heating up and names are reported and it's like, this is close. And then it goes dead silent.
Mm-hmm.
We had some of that last year, or not last year, with the Scherzer stuff.
Right.
It was like Scherzer's coming to the Padres, and then it was quiet.
So that was 2021 deadline?
Sorry, 2021. Yeah. Yeah. It was 2021.
That was it 3 seasons ago then?
Oh my gosh. I was still on Darren's show then. But we saw the news, and Ken it ended up, he admitted it was bad reporting because he got bad info. But at the time, you're like, okay, this is heating up. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's happening, right? And then it's quiet.
Right.
And you hear nothing from Passan. Like nothing.
I know.
And this is the same situation.
When's the last time Passan tweeted?
He hasn't tweeted about the Yankees deal and the Soto deal.
He hasn't tweeted
He is the type of person that he's like, I'm not going to tweet speculation and rumors. No. I'm going to tweet fact. And I appreciate that, honestly. Because then it's like to be true. You don't want to. Yeah. Andy Martino's a guy, like it's his job to report, but also he knows the situation that the Yankees are in, and he knows the fan base pretty well. So he's getting a lot of clicks and views today.
Dude, tons.
A lot of clicks and views. All right. He knows what's going on. So look, do I think this deal is going to go through? Kevin Acee told us today.
He thinks it does.
He thinks it does. Everyone says they think it's going to get done. The medicals are just the thing that are taking the longest, but it is always interesting when things start heating up. And this was like at 9 a.m. this morning.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's dead quiet and we're in a wait mode.
Jon Morosi saying the deal's being finalized now. And this was a couple of hours ago, and we're still waiting on it. We had Kevin Acee with us earlier, our Padres insider. The exact quote was this: I don't see any reason that the trade does not get done. He also said it looks like it's going to happen. So that was the latest. Now, we do know this as well in terms of a timeline. Brian Cashman no longer at the winter meetings, flying back to New York within the last couple of hours. We don't know about AJ Preller and his staff. And we were told from Andy Martino, we played the sound for you from SNY, that the ball's now in the court of the Padres. They were reviewing medical records. We heard the craziest theory from John Boy that maybe the Yankees are altering medical records because they don't want to include Michael King in the deal. I mean, give me a break. I think it's all stupidity.
I think it was a joke.
Was it?
It's a stupid joke that people are going to clip, and then
he clipped it. But yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
By the way, this has now become the story. We were wondering, is it going to be Ohtani first or Soto first?
It feels like it's Soto first,
but who knows at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about this yesterday. Like, it's the winter meetings. You got this massive global star in Shohei Ohtani, and nobody's allowed to talk about it per Ohtani's agent.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that. I don't think you overly liked it. I'll tell you who hates it is Chris Russo.
Also, Buster Olney hates it too.
Buster Olney has written
huge article about it.
It's very baseball-like.
Destroying Shohei Ohtani and his agent.
I know. So this was Chris Russo earlier today on High Heat.
Oh, the fact that we're even discussing this is a complete joke. This Ohtani scenario, sweepstakes, do you know when he won the MVP? He wouldn't even tell you what his dog's name was. because he had his dog there when he won the American League MVP. Anybody who pays Ohtani $600 million needs their heads examined anyway. He's not going to pitch next year. He's a DH. And tell me this with Ohtani. How many times were the Angels in a pennant race in the middle of September? They won 73 games last year. He missed the last 25 games, cleared out his locker room, did not even tell you what's going on, and left the team. So anybody who goes out there and gives him $600 million needs their freaking head examined. Let's get that going here first. And what is the big secret? Geez, he's a free agent. He's talked to 6 teams. Giants, he was in Dunedin with the Blue Jays. Obviously, Roberts does that. I mean, the Cubs are in the mix. The Angels. Well, what is this, the atomic bomb? We're not allowed to find out. This is baseball. He's a celebrity. This is what it's about. This is stupid. That somehow, some way, if you reveal that you had a breakfast with Ohtani, you should be basically thrown out with the bathwater. I mean, he was good job for Roberts. And I'll tell you, a terrible job with the Dodger general manager, Stevie. This guy surprised by Roberts' decision. How about the general manager? Roberts is won a manager of the year. He's done a great job with the team. How about the general manager have the guts to say, you know what, give my manager credit. He had the right to say what he said. He was asked a question by the media. He didn't lie. And by the way, at the winter meetings, where he's required to talk to the media, they ask him a question, Roberts gives him the right answer, and then the GM throws him out by himself. That's a joke. This Ohtani thing is the biggest waste of time I've ever seen in my life. If you go spend $600 million for this guy, you need your head examined. He has never played a big game in September, and the Angels stink. One player doesn't win. And the idea that we have to treat this as the peace talks in Tehran in World War II is ridiculous. When Stalin and Roosevelt and Churchill got together, it drives me absolutely crazy.
The education.
Chris Russo.
I'm embarrassed for him.
I know.
He is a character of himself.
That's who he is.
I know it is who he is. And I don't agree at all with his Ohtani take. My take yesterday was baseball has done a horrible job at the winter meetings. Baseball, not the players, baseball. Because baseball in these teams, they are so gun shy. They're just like, they're so scared of committing and making trades. And they're a bunch of prospect huggers. Like they're so afraid to go out and do things. That was why the Padres was so refreshing last year, especially here, that of the amount of action there was, just overall in the whole sport. And I was like, I remember saying it on air. I was like, this is how the winter meetings should be all the time. But when you have no deadlines, when you have months before the season starts, when you have, agents trying to take every bit of money possible because there is no salary cap in baseball, and literally you can give somebody a $1 billion contract if you wanted to, then you're going to get this waiting game to get the most money from every single team. That's why in basketball and the NFL, you see moves happen right away because you can't wait out for an extra $150 million because there's a limit.
I disagree with you on Ohtani. I don't think this has anything to do with money. I think best and finals are in, and we're waiting on Shohei Ohtani. And I do believe there's a fear among teams that if you rock the boat here, it could be costly. Nobody's waiting to put in their offers on Shohei Ohtani. I mean, clearly this is all on Ohtani's side. Ball's in his court.
I was talking about all of baseball, not just Ohtani.
Well, Ohtani specifically, the biggest player in the history of free agency in the sport, this is on him.
I do think it's weird, this mandate of secrecy, but hey, man, he's the best player in baseball. If he wants to do that, then guess what? Teams should probably not talk about it.
Well, that's fine, but it is a bit of a disservice potentially to the game when this global recognizable superstar that was on CNN before he ever stepped in America to play Major League Baseball or 60 Minutes, because he was this mythical figure, won't address the media in any capacity and won't talk about his free agency ever. And we haven't heard from him since September. I mean, it's not ideal. I'm not saying I agree fully with Chris Russo. I would never say it the same way, but there's some things that he says in there that I think have legitimacy.
You don't think, and I don't know for certain, but it feels like in the NBA and the NFL especially, these high-priced players, the superstars of your sport, the most recognizable names of your sport, they talk a lot. But I also think that's almost a mandate from the sport. Like the NFL, the NBA, they're like, hey, we're putting you out here. Do you think they want to do it? No, the players, but the NBA and the NFL, they trot out their best players. That's why, to me, I'm blaming baseball. What is baseball like? They can't tell Ohtani, like, hey man, you got to talk.
No, clearly they cannot.
Well, then
you think Ohtani? You think baseball?
Well, that's in like some type of bargaining agreement or whatever the case may be. There,
you got to talk about your free agency.
And
I agree.
Not free agency, but just like, I don't know, just something. And that's why baseball to me is to blame here. Rob Manfred's to blame here. The teams, the owners are to blame here. Not the players. They want to get paid, right? But the owners are so scared.
But not with Ohtani. Now, this one is such a unique example. This is not about what Ohtani is going to make. This is about what decision Ohtani wants to make. Who cares what he's going to make? He already knows he's going to be the richest player in the history of the sport. He will not make this determination based on money. He's not going to Boston because it's $5 million more than New York, as an example. Like, this is all on Ohtani. I completely disagree with this idea that he's never been on a team with more than 73 wins, so he's not worth $600 million. I think that's utter BS. But I do think there's some legitimacy to, you've got a winter meetings going on, and everyone is fearful to talk about, it's the biggest elephant in the history of the room in the history of baseball.
Yeah.
And you're here, yet there's media availability every day with every team, and we can't talk about Shohei Ohtani because his agent says it can be used against us.
Well, here's the thing.
That's BS.
Here's the thing too, and I'll make it. I'll go bigger. All right.
Okay, go big.
If Ohtani didn't sign this week, which it doesn't look like he will,
right?
I'm fine with it. But what I'm not fine with, and what I think baseball is completely failing at, is everybody else. Okay. Blake Snell, Josh Hader.
Okay, that's fair. I'm more with you on that.
Trades, whatever other top free agents are out, Cody Bellinger.
But they're all waiting on Ohtani.
And that's the problem.
But that's on Ohtani.
That's on baseball.
How so?
Because these teams are literally kissing the ring of Ohtani when they should just be like saying, screw it, we're going to start making our moves here. Why are we waiting on this guy?
Why would anyone do that if their first priority is Ohtani? Why would you go sign Bellinger if you need that money for Ohtani?
What if you're not going to sign Bellinger?
But you get my point. If Ohtani is the number one player in baseball, Juan Soto does not hold a candle to the marketability or performance ability in the future of Shohei Ohtani. Agree or not?
So the 5 teams that are reportedly in on Ohtani are the only teams that can sign Blake Snell, Cody Bellinger, Josh Hader, Rhys Hoskins.
No, but those players have representation that understand that what Shohei Ohtani signs for matters to high-level players.
It sets the market. I agree there.
Exactly.
But nobody's like Shohei. So
that's true.
Shohei gets $600 million.
Right. That doesn't mean you're getting
you can't be
20.
You can't be Cody Bellinger like, well, Shohei got this money. Oh, give me 500.
Yeah, he's only going to DH.
Not even this. He is a one of one.
Agreed.
So there's no comparable like Juan Soto waiting. And I know if Juan Soto is a free agent, I don't think Juan Soto is going to make close to what Shohei makes, nor should he.
No, I agree.
And so if you're that type of player, if you're Blake Snell, why are you waiting for somebody that has nothing to do with you? Nothing. Or
I can't speak specific to the Snell. I would say this: at the top of the market, you better get it right. Like for Snell to sign, for example, and this is on his representation as well. You want top dollar. He won a Cy Young. You don't just get to the winter meetings and say, "Well, this team offered me this. It sounds pretty good." You should be putting teams up against each other to get top dollar. That's a responsibility, by the way, to the union. What Blake Snell gets then impacts other pitchers.
Do you think, and I said this last year, if the Padres ended up winning and now in the sport, it's going to be viewed as like, well, go out and spend a bunch of money because look what the Padres did.
Okay.
Do you think the Padres not winning, failing miserably, and having to now shed a boatload of payroll is giving teams hesitation to go out and spend money? Like they see that the way to get to a World Series is not by spending the most money. Example, Arizona Diamondbacks. Texas Rangers not a good example because they spend a bunch of money, but you get in at 84 wins, you can make the World Series. Like, do you think that has any factor into why these teams are so scared to go out and give big time contracts?
No, and let me explain why. look at the last 25 World Series champs and tell me where they finished in payroll, and a lot of them are in the top 5
or top 10.
And then B, there's always going to be listen, not all teams are going to spend, but there's always going to be a team like the New York Yankees that's willing to go over 300 million, which is being reported here today. So do I think the Yankees have any reservations about their spending because the Padres spent their money poorly? No. And I think there's always going to be teams like that. Again, there's no guarantee. Look at this past year. Yankees, Mets, Padres, 1, 2, and 3 in payroll, not in that order, all out of the postseason. But that doesn't mean next year the top spender doesn't win the World Series. So I'd rather be in a position of spending like the Padres were in 2023 than lowering payroll. Not that you can't lower payroll and win. Now, are they an example of, be careful if you're a small market to do and follow the path that the Padres just followed? Because there's no sustainability there? Maybe. But again, like Mets, Yankees, Red Sox, I don't think they care. I think they'll continue to spend because they think that's an avenue to win.
I just put it more on baseball than anything because there's been a lot of winter meetings, John, that have been complete duds and boring and stupid.
Yeah.
And it's not just this one with Ohtani. Like Ohtani's not the only reason why this winter meetings has been boring and sucks. It's a constant in baseball that the winter meetings, more often than not, turn out to be a big bunch of nothing. And last year it was an exception. And I thought it was like freaking awesome. You had Judge, you had Turner, Bogarts, DeGrom, Verlander, all signed within a 4-day window at the winter meetings. And that got eyes on baseball in a time when you really need to get as many eyes as possible because you're falling way behind. And
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think baseball, I agree. But if Ohtani and Soto sign this week, it has literally no impact on the sport. If they sign next week, it has no. I mean, nobody cares. It's not like, oh my gosh, they signed December 11th.
Well, it's
not
still,
December 2nd.
Yeah,
I don't think it has any impact.
Read the Bob Nightingale tweet.
Bob Nightingale. This means it'll probably get done in 10 seconds. The Padres are at the Professional Baseball Scouts dinner, so it will be hours or perhaps tomorrow until a Juan Soto deal is finalized. Bob Nightingale, who is like, speaking of a caricature, like Chris Russo, this is a like baseball reporter caricature. I trust nothing of what he writes, but it's fun to read regardless. Just because AJ Preller's at a scouts dinner doesn't mean they can't announce a trade.
Man, we're a bunch of pawns, man. We're just sitting here scrolling through Twitter and they're eating like Wagyu steak.
True.
With like some amazing
and they're eating prawns.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like some really good like shrimp with an amazing shrimp cocktail sauce.
Right.
Maybe
like,
some
what
oysters.
trade? What's Soto
Yeah,
trade?
prawns.
Yeah, prawns. Like
Those
you
are
said,
giant shrimp.
Yeah, giant prawns, like just like perfectly laid out for you on a bed of ice.
This thing will get done at like
So good.
3:50 in the morning Eastern time.
You like prawns, Brent?
It's a shrimp.
Dude, they're so good.
A prong is just a giant shrimp.
I thought you said prong for a second.
No.
There. But with like a cocktail sauce.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, those
god.
are awesome.
Sounds very good. I mean, again, you could get wrong here, and I'm not really holding my breath that Juan Soto's moved, and then there's the whole reaction to Juan Soto officially being moved. But I'm still seeing the most smoke we've ever seen is today with Morosi, Martino, Nightingale. Passan even talked about it on SportsCenter, saying until it's done, it's not done, but it's getting close to being done. And I'm paraphrasing. So Kevin Acee saying the same thing. So it's like, this will be a massive about face. This will be a huge black eye in the New York media. And this will not be received well by Yankees fans or New York if this deal does not get done.
Yeah.
So the expectation is the deal will get done. Now, is it a product of time? Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's a product of time. Maybe it gets done overnight or tomorrow or a week from now. But again, I mean, back to this whole winter meetings talk, and nothing got done this week, and it's been so slow, and we're all just pawns. I don't know if anyone cares. Like, I don't think it's baseball's priority. I don't think they care. I don't think they're going to change anything as a result of us. Man, this has been a boring 3 days.
You don't think people are there saying it's been boring?
No, I'm saying I don't think they're going to change anything because it's been a boring 3 days.
Oh, I agree with that because they're not.
I know it's been.
They're
boring.
not forward. They're not forward thinking as a league at all.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. They're stuck in their ways. They just do things at their own pace, and they don't realize that a lot of times people don't, like you said, people don't even care.
Right.
And like that's where I get to the issue is, as a league, as one of the 4 major sports, don't you want to get to a position where you're not saying that?
Right.
You know, like
I agree.
you want to say people give a you know what.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, this is our biggest event of the offseason. shouldn't we do something to make sure that during the NFL season, regular season, right, which is big, during an NBA season in November that nobody cares about, except for in the in-season tournament,
Final Four,
yeah, Final
Vegas.
Four, baby.
A lot of Lakers talk to.
The start of college basketball, which is, I mean, it's okay regionally, it's or whatever. The end of college football is now over.
Yeah,
You're waiting
bowl
for the bowls,
season. Yep.
so you have a little window.
Yep.
Before the playoffs for the NFL, before the bowl games start, before the national championship and the playoffs and New Year's Six and all that, you have a window where you can really, like, hey, you can
Capture
maybe
some attention.
capture some attention and carve
agree.
out maybe 10 minutes on Sports
Yeah,
Center.
I agree with that.
But instead, baseball is like, we're good. We'll just do whatever and whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, especially I do agree with that. Like you got Tuesday nights last night. You got Wednesday nights. This isn't like
Nothing's
Monday
happening.
night football. This
No.
isn't Thursday night football. It is well timed for there to be news. I mean, what has been the biggest story? Forget the speculation on Soto
Like
and
actual
Ohtani.
factual
What's
things?
been the actual biggest signing or news related to a signing? Eric Fetty to the White Sox?
I would say Craig Kimbrell on a 1-year deal
to the Orioles. Great. Or the $82 million signing by the Brewers' top prospect, one of the top prospects in the organization.
That's the top prospect in all of baseball.
Yes, great.
Not just Brewers.
Yeah, that's that. There's your story.
Yep.
But Shohei Ohtani, don't say his name. You can get in trouble.
Yeah, the Juan Soto
Juan
deal.
Soto, medicals. A lot of
Medicals.
medicals talk. How come when in the NBA, NFL, that we never hear about that?
Because they just want to get things done.
Yeah. And it's particular. I get it. With pitching and with elbows and with shoulders, maybe you want a couple hours to review that type of information. That makes sense. I don't know why. You don't have to be in a hurry. But, and I'm fine if they slow play this. I'm fine if this thing falls apart. I'm completely fine if this thing falls apart. But I do want resolution.
You know what I would hate, though? If it initially falls apart and we go another like month and a half with Juan Soto.
And then it gets done?
And then it gets done. You just wasted a month and a half. And you're probably not making any significant moves in that month and a half, right?
Probably not.
Like signings, maybe trades.
Right.
Or another thing that maybe if this deal falls through, I think the likelihood of that happening, like the percentage is still low. I would say less than 5%. I would say 5% or less that this thing falls through.
Who knows? I mean,
knows?
It seems incredibly unlikely. I thought Scherzer in the moment wasn't going to fall through, and it did.
Does this pivot AJ to either try to get a better deal from somebody else, or does this pivot AJ to make other moves that aren't Juan Soto? I would think it might pivot AJ to go somewhere else with Soto.
I just don't know what kind of look that is. I mean, did you finish the conversation with like you have the medicals, review them, and if they're okay, the deal's done, and then you call them the Blue Jays? It just I'm telling you guys, like it could get done for sure. But we are on the verge of this has been too long. You think?
Yeah.
They wouldn't be the scouts dinner?
Dude, Darren
Are
today.
they trying to sweeten the pot? They want one more player?
Darren said he got a text today on his show. It was like they're reviewing medicals.
Maybe they still are. It's 4, 5, 6 players.
5.5?
Bro, you've been to you know how long we wait in waiting rooms sometimes to go like get a physical? We're looking at like MRIs from 2019.
Yeah, this is big boy league though.
But I'm saying we're looking at multiple guys. They might be sending that off to like multiple places.
Carlos Correa, when it was reported that Carlos Correa agreed to a $350 million contract with the Giants. You know how long that took? Like it was like, okay, Carlos Correa to the Giants. And then you're like, where's the official announcement? Where's the official announcement?
A couple days in NFL part?
Yeah. And you're like, where's the official announcement? And the Giants, I think they called for a press conference the very next day. And then as soon, like an hour before the press conference, it fell through. So what I'm saying is if this thing goes through the night and we get to tomorrow,
then there's reasons to believe it's not going to get done.
I would think that if you're a Yankees fan, which I would love it if this happened, you're sweating bullets.
If we wake up tomorrow morning and find out that it's been nixed, it's going to be like Chris Paul flashbacks, only in a positive way instead of a negative way.
Could be. On the other side, we're giving away Aztec tickets. Do not go anywhere. We've got 2 free tickets for San Diego State, UC Irvine, Saturday night at Viejas Arena. Tickets at goaztecs.com. A big game. They all are for San Diego State. We'll do that on the other side. We're refreshing Twitter with the rest of you as well. The latest on a possible Juan Soto trade to the New York Yankees. Next on Jon and Jim. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. San Diego, among the most expensive cities in the country to live in. And with the year almost over, you might need cash for the holidays. You might want to be credit card debt free for the new year. You can call Loan Pronto today because their Express Equity line of credit can get you $20, $50, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. You've got a ton of equity in your home. Loan Pronto can help you turn that equity into cash, and you can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards. You could pay off personal loans. Maybe you want to add solar panels to a home improvement project. Get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact so that 3% rate you have is protected. And with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line program, 90% of the time, there's no need for an appraisal. You can get your money super fast. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards before the new year. Get yourself on solid financial footing before the year ends by calling Loan Pronto now. Here's the number, 619-207-4336. Again, 619-207-4336, or go to loanpronto.com. Write this down, 619-207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
All right. This update's brought to you by Staples Stores. The Aztecs lost last night to Grand Canyon University. Next up, they take on UC Irvine back at Viejas Arena this Saturday, 7:30. Tip-off, 7 p.m. pregame right here on San Diego Sports 760. Staples holiday deals mean amazing savings. For the holiday season right now, save 50% on custom holiday cards and invitations, as well as custom photo gifts like mugs and calendars. Offer ends 12/16. Visit staples.com/print for more details. Have yourself a merry little holiday at Staples.
Do not go anywhere. In 5 minutes, we'll give away San Diego State tickets for Saturday night. Viejas Arena. Jim just told you about it. 7:30 is the tip time. Really good program coming in. Irvine. They've already beaten USC this season. Important game. Tickets are available. GoAztecs.com. In 5 minutes, we will give away a pair of free tickets. The latest on the winter meetings and Juan Soto's potential trade, if you missed it a few moments ago, comes from Bob Nightingale, who says the Padres are eating dinner.
But what are they having?
Seriously, I want to
Padres
know.
are at the Professional Baseball Scouts dinner.
I like, that's a great point, Brent. I want to know what they're eating.
I can't sleep until I know what they had for every course.
And what does that even mean? So it will be hours or perhaps tomorrow until a Soto deal is finalized. I feel like you can have
They're
dinner
really hungry
and still finalize a trade. I feel like that's possible. But maybe not. And also the latest from about 3 hours ago is Brian Cashman was hopping on a plane for New York with Aaron Boone. So Cashman to New York.
What are they having for lunch?
Padres having, who knows? What do you, who on earth knows what the Padres are eating right now? Food. It's a bit of a late dinner, 8:30.
Dude, Preller, the time for Preller does not like compute.
It's like a casino. You're right.
It is.
Just
like,
goes on and on and
like,
on.
oh, I'm hungry. I'll go eat food. What time is it? 3:30 in the morning. Oh, whatever. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Like
Right.
he'll operate on his own time.
Apparently.
But really, though, what do you think they're eating? Like it's got to be a nice dinner.
It's a nice dinner. We've been to the winter meetings. It's very nice. The galas, the dinners, the events, they're very nice.
I went to the winter meetings in was the year that Hosmer signed? 2017?
Yeah, maybe. Where was that? San Diego?
Orlando.
You went to Orlando?
Yeah, I went to Orlando.
Yeah, I've been there. To the Swan and the Dolphin for the winter meetings? Yeah, the 2 hotels?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
It's okay.
Okay.
No, it was nice. It was nice. I thought San Diego was
I love San
much
Diego.
better.
It's so easy.
Yeah, it's so easy.
This thing's crazy. Nashville's the biggest hotel in the world.
So went to Orlando and we got invited to go have like a dinner with all of the executives and like the coaches. Really nice dinner. It was like steak.
With the Padres?
Yeah. It was like a 3-course meal.
You haven't been getting invites since.
I have not. That was the last time. But Preller was there. So was Andy Green.
Were you asking about 17-year-old Juan Soto and how much you like him?
Like, so his prospect, Tatis Jr. You
Yeah,
like him at all?
I know he's 11.
Yeah, you
However
guys,
old he would have been.
yeah, but it was a good meal. It was like a 3-course meal. Everything was catered nice. They had like, nice salad to start, which you would love. Really good bread rolls.
That's great.
Never underestimate bread rolls. The dessert was awesome. It was like chocolate, like lava cake, but it was like had.
I want to punch you in the face.
I don't know, like really good, like sauce on it.
So this is where we are. 7:30 a.m. I text you. We're doing a wrap-up show at 10 a.m. This deal's getting done. 12 hours later, whatever. 10 hours later, we are still twiddling. We're talking about lava cake.
Yeah. What, you got a problem with that?
Kind of.
I don't.
All right, here's what I want to do. We're
I
going to
wanna
get
talk
back to
more
it.
about lava
We're going to
cake.
get back to it in a moment. Caller 7, you have 2 free tickets to San Diego State, UC Irvine, Saturday night at Viejas. 844-570-1360. Great giveaway. Hope to see you there. Jim said our pregame coverage starts at 7. He's lying. It's at 6:30. 844-570-1360.
I've been saying that all freaking day.
I only listened the last time.
And you don't listen to me to correct me?
I just listened to it, and you were wrong.
I never know. Sometimes the pregame's a half hour. Sometimes the pregame's an hour. Like, I'm getting mixed up here, bro.
You have a really good source. John Schaefer, just ask. 844-570-1360. Caller 7, 2 free tickets. San Diego State, UC Irvine. Tickets are available at GoAztecs.com. That is a great prize. What has happened so far at the winter meetings is Dave Roberts opened his mouth. That became a huge story. And then Padres medical records. Reviewing Yankees medical records has become a huge story. And the New York media leading us down this path to believe that Juan Soto is getting traded today. It hasn't happened as of yet. Those are the stories of the winter meetings 2023.
Yay.
Which come to an end when? Tomorrow, I guess, technically?
Well, tonight's the last night. Everyone is either left or leaving tomorrow.
Yeah,
morning.
nothing's going on.
Nothing. I mean, that place clears out quickly. Once
Yep.
Scott Boras speaks, That's kind of like the final person to talk or whenever he's scheduled. And that's it. Like Monday and Tuesday. And then today, in the morning is the big, like everyone gets in Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, right?
Yep.
Sets everything up. Monday's the first day, technically, even though it's not. Tuesday's the big like talking day. Like, you know, in at the Masters, they call it moving day.
Yes.
Right. Tuesday's moving day at the winter meetings.
Oh, I like that.
And then today, Tuesday night and Wednesday morning is when deals get done.
Yeah, except this year.
Except nothing happened.
Right.
We've been waiting for 10 hours.
Where are the winter meetings next year? I'm hoping San Diego.
No, they're not.
And I'm hoping we're getting more movement than we got this year.
Well, San Diego has produced really good winter meetings. I know that.
I know it has, including last year.
Yeah.
Man, the feelings you had as a Padres fan a year ago. I think 1 year later, you land Xander Bogaerts. You think you can sign Juan Soto long term. You're coming off an NLCS.
What day was that officially?
I mean, like a year ago. Like, right? Like literally a year ago.
Let me check it out.
And then a year later, all you hear about is Juan Soto going to the New York Yankees for like hours and hours and hours. And that's it. I mean, what a difference a year can make. What a difference a year can make. I mean, it was potentially like a year ago today that Bogaerts was made official, or right around it, 366 days, something like that.
Yeah.
Right
around it. It's been trying to find.
I mean, it was the same week. It was the same week last year. So
yeah, because this is the anniversary of Arson Judge is signed with the Giants.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Which didn't even happen.
Yeah. Happened December 7th.
And also a year ago, December 7th. What's today?
December 6th.
It's crazy. Also, a year ago, Aaron Judge met with Peter Seidler and the Padres at Petco Park.
Random, like
Tuesday night
talking. They got a sit down interview, and everyone's like, "What?"
Also, they made an offer to Trey Turner this week.
They made an offer to Judge.
Turner, Judge, Bogaerts.
That's why it is interesting. Like, I know Kevin said that this was the plan all along, even if Peter Seidler were still here. I don't know, man.
Yeah, we'll never know.
You'll never know, and it's unfortunate, of course.
It's just the spending between 364 days ago and today. Things just changed.
Oh, dude, that's
the
why
debt spending.
That's why it's always so funny to me when someone has a take on something,
right?
And then that take ends up being wrong or changes, and then that you're accused of like being wrong, but like takes can change and
This is all. So this is your fault.
No, I'm not. It's not my fault. Like I'm talking about last year when they signed Bogaerts.
Right.
In the moment,
sure, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Everyone likes excitement.
Now a year later, guess what? My thoughts have changed. I don't like the deal.
Yeah. What did Kevin say today about the Bogaerts deal?
Worst deal in sport in the baseball.
He said that?
One of. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know, man. He has like the best offensive WAR in baseball.
He was top 10 offensive WAR
I mean,
somehow.
what the
I
hell?
missed that. It was
Yeah.
all in September and April.
Right.
What do you have, Brad?
I'll text on 808. Jim remembers what he ate in 2017, but can't remember Nashville is in Tennessee. Makes sense.
I knew Nashville was in Tennessee.
He knew that. He just thought Memphis was in the state of Chicago.
I thought Memphis was in like Washington.
Charlotte or something.
Yeah, New York. My bad.
Washington, D.C., state or not a state?
Washington, D.C.?
Correct.
Not a state.
Correct. All right. You have a back page, even though we thought Juan Soto was being traded today?
Of course I do.
Okay. Jim's back page on the other side. Who won our Aztec tickets?
Darren
Smith?
Darren Smith got it?
No.
Congratulations, Darren
Good job,
Smith.
Darren.
Jim's back page next. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. I've been telling you for months about our friends over at Windmill Farms. Such a great spot for San Diegans, whatever their needs are, whether it's your work week, you're looking for lunch, your game day needs on the weekend, just your place to do your shopping day in and day out, week in and week out. Windmill Farms is your spot. Family owned. Trevor and his family have been in the grocery business for over 20 years. I love picking up lunch there from their deli because your 8th sandwich is free. They have an amazing selection of sandwiches, just an incredible selection. They keep their prices so low. If you look at sandwich prices and lunch prices around town, compare it to Windmill Farms. You're saving money. They use high quality, fresh ingredients. your 8th sandwich is free. So this is my lunch spot. It should be yours as well. And it's also my weekend spot as I'm getting ready to tailgate, watch games, call games. I'm over at Windmill Farms. They've got farm fresh produce and meats, amazing beer selection. You need to see it. Craft beer, kombucha, and more. They've got the deli with the award-winning sandwiches we've told you about. They're centrally located right by San Diego State, Del Cerro Boulevard, across the freeway from Montezuma Mesa. Family-owned, serving San Diegans for 20-plus years, supporting local businesses. I know that's critically important to a lot of San Diegans, from Harris Ranch to Mr. G's Salsa and more. You don't have to live or work near the college area to take advantage of Windmill Farms because they're on Instacart. You can have your groceries delivered directly to your home. They also have weekly specials, by the way, at windmillfarmsmarket.com. So check them out at windmillfarmsmarket.com to see those weekly specials. And a reminder to shop local, shop at Windmill Farms. But if you're just joining us, you've missed nothing. I mean, literally nothing other than the fact that the Padres are eating dinner. And Jim put on Twitter, what do you think the Padres are eating tonight? We've been waiting on a Juan Soto deal. And again, you're not waiting with excitement like 2 years ago when you're waiting on a Juan Soto deal.
I feel like that deal
was exciting.
Well, duh. But I mean, when it was reported on, it happened
lightning quick.
We didn't wait for 10 hours.
You're not kidding. 10 hours and more, dude. From Martino last night, the Yankees are working on stuff. And by stuff, I mean trading for Juan Soto. From that moment on, you're pushing 24 hours.
And if the Padres brass is eating lunch and dinner, sorry. And you got Cashman and Boone already gone in New York, back to New York.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
But they could like do Teams or Zoom,
like
call,
I'm sure you could
text.
Yeah, unless they have green text.
Oh, how annoying would that be if
then
it's
you have,
green?
Then you have to wait till I can have Wi-Fi.
Who would you think would be more likely to have green, the Yankees or the Padres?
I'm gonna go with the Yankees on this one.
Really?
Yeah, I view
Cashman's a BlackBerry guy.
Yeah, I view Preller as an iPhone guy.
Yeah, me too.
Actually, I know he's an iPhone guy.
Oh, look at me! I got AJ Preller's. Why don't you text him and ask what he's having for dinner and what's the latest?
No.
You're looking for some information.
No shot.
You talked to him just a week or two ago.
No shot. Hey,
asked
AJ,
about Juan Soto.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Do you want to do a back page?
I do.
Let's do it.
All right, Taco Bell is bringing back a beloved item to their menu.
Maybe that's what they're having then.
You think so?
Whatever this item is, let me hear.
Taco Bell is bringing back its double-decker taco.
I didn't even know they got rid of it.
It is coming
I
back.
used to love that thing.
It's coming back for a limited time in a, quote, nationwide comeback. There is no report on how long it will be.
What does it look like?
Oh, that was my favorite. All it
What
was
is
it was just a hard shell taco. Only they took a soft shell taco and put like beans on it, and then they wrapped it around. So
I
it's
like
just
that. Yeah.
Well, you might remember
would eat
that
that.
the ad campaign was Shaq and Hakeem because that was the year they played in the finals. So because it was a play on the Miller Lite thing because it was like hard taco, soft taco, and then
Right.
they would have both. But the commercials had Shaq and Hakeem
Kind of
Olajuwon in
remember
them.
that. Yeah. Okay.
Because that used to be huge. I remember that.
So it is coming back on the menu for $2.99, and it will, excuse me, be available nationwide now. It's not yet known how long it will stay on the menu.
Nice.
Okay.
So just be ready for that.
Terrific.
Yeah, exactly. According to a study by a university,
A university?
See, are we in Europe?
Like, which one?
Loma
Don't
Linda
go to college,
University
you go
in
to
California.
university.
Okay, Loma Linda.
They did a study on butts,
Excuse me?
Go on.
on like shape, size, and they've determined what the perfect butt should look like. And and there was a poll, right, for who has the perfect butt in the world. Guess who was voted as having the best ass in the world?
I'm not guessing.
Shohei Ohtani.
Close.
Andy Martino.
Chris Russo.
No, you idiot. Jennifer Lopez.
Surprise.
Shocker.
Bob Nightingale.
They said her butt is as close to proportionally perfect as you could find.
Well, it's not exactly shocking, is it? I mean,
Well, she has it insured for like $17 million.
is that right?
Yeah. Her ass.
So
yeah.
this is where, like,
Was that in case she sits down too fast or something?
I
is
don't
this
know.
Loma Linda? Like, is this like, are they putting a lot of money into this? Is this a graduate program? Is state dollars being used for this
I don't know
research?
what's worse, that college last week that you did that's teaching a class in Taylor Swift, or this class teaching how to find the perfect butt.
So, yeah, surgeons from Loma Linda University in California found a golden, quote, waist to hip ratio of 0.65 is the most attractive on women when asked 1,100 men and women for their opinion. Well, J-Lo has pretty close to a 0.65 waist to hip ratio butt. And so she was voted the best ass in the world.
Have they reached J-Lo for comment yet?
The important work is being done
This is
Wow.
what happens when there's no news of the winter meetings.
We were supposed to have news this week.
I don't know, man. I put Shakira up there, dude. No?
Was she on the list?
No.
Okay.
But J-Lo was voted as the number one. and, and finally, I don't know how I could top that, literally. Target announced that they're offering 500 Target Circle members the chance to win a $500 shopping spree this holiday season.
At Padres.
Hey, guys, you need money? Go to Target. All you need to do is be signed up as a Circle member, Target Circle member, and it will be announced. When is it? December 12th, who the winner is. And you have until December 8th to sign up. The drawing is a random drawing.
What are we talking? Dude, if I'm not kidding, forget about this.
Perfect.
If there is a tweet in the next 1 minute and 45 seconds about a trade,
we're staying on there.
Well, no, because we're gonna be off air.
We're like 6:03. That's how it works.
If there is a tweet between now and 6:09, I don't even know what to say. But there's been no tweet other than
Sorry,
the
odd
Padres are
couple.
eating.
You're getting bumped.
Right, exactly. What are they talking about tonight?
J-Lo's butt.
J-Lo's butt.
Probably. If you missed anything today, you really haven't. SportsSD.com,
So listen to our
iHeartRadio
show.
app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify. If you're listening to the podcast version of the show, please do leave a review. Find us on social media at Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. We are back tomorrow at 3. Has anything happened between now and 3 p.m. tomorrow? We're going to find
J-Lo
out.
has a perfect butt.
For Brent.
Oh, wait. The Padres have finished the main course. They're on to dessert.
Maybe by tomorrow. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760.
Is it a chocolate lava cake?
Odd Couple next.